Welcome to Can Angels Fly Tarot and More, taught by me, Nancy. Today's live stream is about 2020. Before we begin, I like to submit my personal plugs, and they are: number one, I'm a professional tarot reader, so you can always feel free at your leisure to contact me by email in order to order your own personal tarot reading. I have different tarot reading packages that I offer, and you can look for those details below every video I make. Anywho, if you're interested in ordering your own personal tarot reading, just contact me by email, and my email is canangelsfly1@gmail.com. At that time, please include your contact information, the type of tarot reading you would like, or the package, and what is it? Oh, your location, so I can synchronize our time. After that, I will have PayPal for you a payment invoice so that you can make your payment and confirm your appointment with me. The next thing is I ask you to like this content if you enjoy it, to share this content with another, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I think that's about it. We're going to move forward with this live stream. And I'm suffering some technical difficulties because, you know, I'm an amateur person as far as technology. I just don't know much about it. So I want to show you the astrological chart that I interpreted for January. I'm going to do so just so you have something to look at. Now, this video is going to go into great detail about 2020 and what events will take place, why they will be taking places, and what to look out for. In the course of this video, I will be referring back to previous videos and lives I made over the last year, or actually last 3 years. And the reason why I'm doing so, because I realize it's been a building up to this time of 2020. When I say building up, I'm talking about all the information. Keep in mind that I do personally believe that the stars are used to either encode messages or they are a message from divinity. And certain people knew how to interpret those messages. And so whatever it is, I've tapped into it. And therefore, I do believe the messages that I receive are real. They're real, and I think they can be helpful. They can serve as warnings. They serve as instructions. The messages that I get. Other times I hear messages from, I'll say, ethereal beings. Who are they? Who's out in the ether? I don't know. But sometimes I hear from the devil. Other times I hear from angels, etc., etc., ancestors, all those kind of things. And I bring that up because I forgot. Old people problems setting in already. I'm going to try to take my time too and lay back and cruise through this live stream, because I do think it's going to be long. It will be long. So get you something to drink and whatever vices you need around you, so we can take our time. Because I do believe that this particular video is going to make my channel make sense. That is to say, the subject matters that I cover. And I also believe that it's going to help you be able to prepare in order to make sure that you are okay in this upcoming season. When I say season, you know I'm talking about 2020 and beyond. Now, I started to write out an outline for this video, but I put too much energy and effort into things, and I realized I was about to do it again. So I'm just going to try to talk, you know, and I say that for real because my viewership isn't reasonable. So I do want to deliver the messages that I get, just in case I do have a calling. I want to satisfy whoever has called me to action, if it is the case. So it can never say that I didn't do what I was capable of doing in this world at the time that I lived. And so I'll deliver the message. There are a few things that I want to talk about. I don't know in which order I will talk about them, because again, I didn't write an outline, and old people problems setting in. But first things first, we will be covering, I will try to show you the astrological wheel and all of the alignments, and then I will interpret them here briefly. I'll show you my notes from some days back. As you see, it's all scribble, hot mess, because it's very, very time consuming, and you got to really process all of this stuff. So it's here, and so I'm gonna try to even refine it better, so that you understand what all of this is. And I say that because when I'm writing, I'm just kind of using astrological terminology, but when I talk to you ladies and gentlemen, you probably like, what is that? What does that mean? And so I try to put it in layman's terms so that you understand everyday language. But we'll see how it goes. Now, what do I want to say? Maybe I just got to just throw the rules in as we progress through this live stream, rather than try to figure them out ahead of time, because I didn't sit down and write the outline and keep saying so let me, the first thing I'm about to do, you're gonna see me messing around here on the screen because I'm trying to figure out how to turn this thing on and make it work for me. I don't know how it's gonna go, so for a minute y'all won't see me. I'll be messing around trying to get this astrological wheel up so that you can have something to look at. I like the show and tell. It keeps us entertained and interactive when we're doing our works. And so I'm here. Oh, there it goes. But me is the issue. I'm an issue here, but that's okay. Maybe I can sit here and talk to y'all, and y'all can see. Will it work? Okay. As you can see, partially see, I'm on astral theme, and I'm attempting to, I had already set it up and then it went away, so I don't know how it's going to work. Some people don't like astral theme, but I use it because it's easy to use, and it will, okay, it says December. If I go 7 days forward, I'm trying to align the online app with these papers of interpretation that I've done already. We're going to see how it go. It's about a person having patience and an interest in such things. Let's see, that's December. We'll go 26. What does this take me to? Okay, and I'm trying to, so I have to calibrate it back to the date that I originally had. How y'all doing today? Hi, Rising Vibrations. What's going on in your world? Hey, Nancy, good to see you. My mom passed last week. I'm so sorry to hear that. Rising Vibrations. My condolences to you and your family. Funeral was day before my birthday. Well, happy belated birthday. And I know that you probably weren't in the birthday mood. That's so interesting, just that alignment between your mom's passing and right at your birthday, which was it was yesterday, 2019, 2020. Don't worry me much. Say don't worry you much. Okay, I'm happy to hear that. But just in case, I'm gonna share some information that you may be able to use to help you through whatever challenges may come your way. That's January 9th. Let me, you're welcome. I remember when my mom passed, everybody was so worried about me because I was the baby. I was okay. We somehow, some way, it's in us to, be okay to make it through. So that's the 11th, 12th, maybe 14th there. I'm not sure. Let's see. Nope, 13. One more. Oh God, I hope I don't mess up. Here, birthday December 13th. December 30th, you are Sagittarius. Wow. I always love what you do. You know this. I do. Thank you. You've been so supportive of me. You are, look, you a rare breed. You got me. You definitely had me. And I'm the kind of person where I really appreciate loyalty and support. And that's the one thing I try to teach my kids about. You get to know a person and their character through those different means. So you never know when a day will come that you may be out and about, vulnerable in some way, and you bump into somebody that's already shown who they really are. Ain't no hesitation in moving forward to assist, aid, and abet. That's the kind of person I am. So, okay, now I'm at 2:30. Let's see. For some reason. Okay, I can see this part. Okay. I'm moving along, y'all. Y'all gotta be patient with me. Okay, I'm trying to synchronize the time. That's what I'm trying to do now, right now, y'all. Let's go 4 minutes. So at least it'll be... I just hope it stays. If it's not, I'm not going to... Wait, I get that far ahead. Okay, 4 minutes. Thank you so much. Rise of Vibrations. 4 minutes. Okay. Don't go. Okay. 4 more minutes back should about put me there. Okay. Now I go 1 minute back. See, this is technology for dummies. This is how it looks. This is how it looks in real time. Okay, and I'm about synchronized. I think I've gotten as close as I can get. Let's see. I want to unlock me. Because I don't want to just get rid of me. I want to kind of... Let's see. And maybe I can... Come on. Don't you stop. Don't you do. Because this thing will... okay. Let's see. I don't know how... And I was trying to shrink it. So we're going to try... This is the chart that we're going to look at, everybody. Hi, Pam. How you doing? Hi, Nancy. Hope all is well. I'm hanging. You're hanging on. You better hang on. See, y'all my tribe. Y'all are my crew. Whether you know it or not, you are. You said your mom was 13th and me the 18th. Wow. Yeah. Very close. But you all right. You're hanging in there. Rising Vibrations. Pam, I don't know if you just came in a room or not, but Rising Vibrations, mom passed away just recently, right around her birthday. So she's going through a transition. So right now we're wishing her well. We wishing you well, Pam. We all gonna be okay. We gonna make it. Hey, girl, you know I love you. I know it. You are a good woman. Thank you in person. You have helped me through such hard times. Thank you for that testimony to my work and my character. Actually, yesterday, a person, I'll say, ordered a reading with me. And she was saying the same thing. I've done some work with her. And of course, I can't share the intimate details, but it all came into existence. And so she reached out to me again. Because, she's to the point where, what do I, do now? But it was like I told her, I was so excited when she contacted me and told me, that everything had came into existence. And the truth of the matter is the information that she received was not good. It wasn't something that person wanted. But she was forewarned, and forewarned is forearmed. But I told her, I said, I have to apologize. I got to celebrate because y'all testimony to my works and my character, it's what really certifies me as a quote-unquote psychic or a spiritual guide, spiritual healer, whatever you want to stamp the label on. I'm just a sister here in this world, with y'all. But it's a testimony, and it makes me feel great that I'm not sitting up here on some bull crap. You know, I don't want to be a liar, misleader, those kind of things. And so, thank you again. And you said, Pam, hope I didn't miss much. I've been up here fiddling with trying to get this astrological wheel up here with these alignments. It's slow motion. It's slow motion here today. We will be talking about 2020. I want to prepare you. I also want you to, I guess, maybe teach you what to look for in 2020 or to be aware of. And so we just beginning. So I invite you to get you something to drink. I got my little drink. I'm prepared. I done turned my phone off. I said anything somebody could want from me over there so they can just come in and grab it. Ain't got to mess with me. And I want to cruise through this information. First, I'm going to try to give you a brief summary of what you're looking at here. Remember, this is the astrological alignment, meaning the stars in the sky at a particular time. What time? Mid-January of 2020. I'm going to decode what you see here. Where is it at? I'm decode here what you see on the screen, because this is a message. Either that message was encoded by man, and people like myself have learned to decipher it, or is a direct message from God. I think it's a direct message from God, and it can't be infiltrated. It was learned over time. And so I'm going to interpret the message from wherever it comes, thus far. When I say thus far, I mean over the course of the years that I've been doing this, it has shown itself to be true. So I will share. And it says, okay, so sorry, I hope the transition was beautiful on the way. It is your energy like having a shoulder to cry on. It's right here. God made sure I had broad shoulders, a woman with broad shoulders. So, yep, you're not alone right there. Just get on in there so we can all be okay. We gonna make it. Just keep on rowing. Don't give up rowing, Pam. Don't give up rowing, Rising Vibrations, and any other person. Don't give up rowing. We gonna make it happen. Because what? Angels can fly. We can fly. You are there, and it just raises a person's spirit. Thank you. Really special energy. Thank you very much. You love you and that family of yours. Yeah, okay. All right, Pam. I done told them about it. They gonna come pouncing in here in the camera in a minute. Okay, y'all. Let me try again. I don't have an outline. So do what? I asked you what? Ride the wave for me. So let's begin. I did make it through. No, I didn't make it through 3 out of. I made it through 2 interpretations. I tried to write them out clearer. How do you read astrological wheel? We've done some studies on that subject matter. This is a wheel, astrological wheel. When you read an astrological wheel, oh my God, I didn't put the pointer up. But it starts off where you see the letters AC. The AC represents the ascent. This is the planetary bodies just coming over the heavens in the morning hours. I think it's about 5 or 6 a.m. Let me try to cut it down. Okay, I just wanted to focus your eyes. So we're going to start with the AC, and then we're going to move counterclockwise, going backwards. So going from AC downward to the moon. So I begin to interpret. When you see this AC pointing to that little glyph or symbol, that's the symbol of Leo. And the ascent is at 13 degrees 14. What does it mean when you decode it? Well, it says this. Give or take. It says the stars are implying that each of us will proceed to specific predetermined life experiences. What period are we talking about? We're talking about 2020 and beyond, but starting in January, of course. So again, the stars are implying that each of us will proceed to specific predetermined life experiences. The unfolding experiences have been assembled by each of our past deeds. the deeds that we partook in or the works that we have done were either from our ego or it was from our heart space. And we did what? We created our future. We're about to move into the future. Okay. It says each of us will continue to, each of us will continue to pursue our chosen interests and to work from our unique acquired, I don't know if I'm saying it right, heart space. It's bad when you can't read your writing. What do I mean? Okay. As mentioned, each of us have lived our life and we have done the works that we saw fit, whether they were egotistical works or they were heart space works. And so we all, remember, it's 7.5 billion people in this world. Hold that concept in your mind throughout this whole video, that there are 7.5 plus, I forgot to say plus, billion people in the world. So we all have done our works, whether from the ego or from the heart, and we were all co-creating our future world, our future reality. And so beginning in January of 2020, the works that we did in the past have already created and formulated our future. Only thing we got to do is walk into it. As we are walking into our unfolding reality, we are still being ourselves. We're still living from that ego space or that heart space. Or if you repented and changed, vice versa. So that's what that means. The next one is, this is, as we go down, we find the moon in the sign of Virgo. And it's in the second house. I forgot to mention the first house when we started. So now we're in the second house with Virgo moon. What is that about? I tried to write a brief summary. We're going to go all the way around, y'all. So patience. But I have some really, I think, I got a lot of, y'all know I've been messing around with images and avatars and stuff. So I got some interesting avatars and messages that are relative to each of them. It's going to be really nice, I think, y'all. Sometimes my creativity get out of control, y'all. We're going to see how it works. Anyway, so we're talking about this second house. Oh, I don't want to mess it up, but here's the moon, and this is at 20 degrees 10. It says, the stars imply that each of our moods, your emotions, how you feel at any given time, will be regulated by the various resources we possess or not. Examples of such resources are money, assets, guess what? Your intellect, your knowledge base, social influence. Are you a lucky person or do you find favor? How about social affiliations? What about your health, etc., etc.? Each of those are examples of what? The assets that you have. And I want to stop there and reflect back upon a live stream I've done in the past, where it asked us to take an account of what treasures we had in this world. Your health is your wealth, those kind of things. Your depth of knowledge on any particular subject, being a master or proficient or intelligent. It said take an account because you're going to need it. That was a warning back then. It said, hey, get it together, accumulate it, find it, join forces with somebody to get it if you don't get it, because you're going to need it. Well, as when we enter 2020, this is a time period that we need it. So, what was I saying? This star alignment right here, and I'm not doing aspecting, talking about how each of these things relate to each other. I'm just giving you the message per house, I'll say. Each house is the numbers that you see around the wheel. And so, as stated, the stars imply that each of our moods, our emotions, our feelings will be regulated by the various resources we possess or do not. Money, assets, intellect, knowledge, social influence, luck or having favor, affiliations, health, etc. As a person, accumulative assets Offer them benefits, such as the sense of worldly physical security, knowing you can pay your bills, take those vacations, etc., etc. The ability to pacify their addictions, urges, a lifestyle. So what was I saying? I'm saying if you got, for those that have the assets, they can tend to their physical worldly desires. But it is those that their financial life may be unstable, or they lack resources or the ability to counteract the challenges that come their way beginning 2020, that will not allow them to sustain their sense of peace or comfort in this world. We're going deep. And it's probably not something you want to hear about. So if you don't want to hear this message here, just, click off, come back later, and enjoy the avatar part, or the image, the illustrated part. It's going to get good, y'all. It might even be a little fun, but yet it's serious. And so I keep reading. Still talking about what the stars imply. It says as well what these resources that each of us has or have not, offers an individual the power to positively impact life's circumstances, situation, and other people in their favor. The Magician card. There are certain people in this world, the astrological alignment lets us know that they are magicians, and they are ready to manipulate this reality in their favor. The next alignment is about to get real choppy now, y'all. If y'all thought that was choppy, it's about to get real choppy. I'm going to put this. Let's see. I was showing my notes. These are all scribbly notes that I took interpreting this. And I'm going to try to go through quicker now and not be so dramatic. So the next alignment, I'll say setup that we're looking at is the third house, Libra in the third house. And it has, if I'm not mistaken, that is Pallas at 19 degrees. Or is that Jupiter? I don't know, y'all. And I don't want to keep messing around with this thing. I did all that already, so. Anyway, what is it talking about? Remember we talked about your small social circle, the people that you frequent, the familiar spirits, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, people from your neighborhood and or community, or whoever makes up your small social circle or various small social circle. These are people that many times you have the same level of education. You live in the same community. You have a shared mindset. Those people. And so this particular alignment talks about collaborating with others, close to home. What kind of works have you gotten into? An example of this is when you live in a community and everybody feels like they have to cut their grass and have the yard have a similar look of cleanliness or whatever. That's a community effort, a community effort. And so it's talking, let me just read what I got here. Remember, they're notes, so they're not going to make sense, but I'm going to try to move along fast. It says collaborating works on your shared reality, partnership with those in your small social circle, personal interest is a focus. So even though you are working with others, it's always about your survival and your interests. But even on the most minute or most intimate level, most things we cannot do alone. So we have to work and collaborate with others. And so that astrological alignment is just pointing us to that dynamic about our existence. And I'll be throwing things in and out because I can't really read these notes. It says, the question is like, who's really in control of these collaboratory experiences that you have with others? When you work with others, who's really in control of the situation and or circumstance? Number one is the person with more knowledge or more power or more influence. It could be you working with your neighbor and maybe y'all doing gardening. The person that will hold more power in that scenario would be the person that knows how to garden. Not the neighbor that's just joining in to help, assist, water plants, listen, learn, or aid a hand. It is the person that actually has the knowledge base behind them. And so it talks about pointing to, okay, let me stop. How can I do this? Remember, the first house talks about how your mood is is going to be regulated by basically your power in this world. Your power can be asserted by money and social influence. And if you're able to be powerful enough in this world, then you can sustain your own personal life, your intimate life, your wants, needs, desires. And then it talks about you being side by side with somebody in your immediate environment, and you having to work or collaborate with them. And the person that holds the power in that dynamic is the person with the relative knowledge base or assets or resources that can help you move along successfully. So that's pointed out. The next one we're going to move through is the fourth house, and it's in Scorpio. Now I got written here is, I'm trying to explain it without explaining it. It says where you come from, not be your, ooh, where you come from. This is the worst writing. Where you came from. Oh, where you came from may not, I know what this, be your, what is this? I know what this is. Read the rest, Nancy. A person's emotional responses to circumstances, situation, and people is based on their fundamental emotional state. What do I mean? I'm talking about your early upbringing, the impact it's had upon you as far as your sense of security, all of your life experiences overall, and how they have had an impact or helped to cultivate your sense of emotional security. To have a healthy sense of emotional security suggests that you can support others, you can love yourself, take care of yourself, and those kind of things. But a person that has a damaged emotional state are people that don't feel supported. They have a hard time supporting others. They have a hard time committing. So we know that it's talking about that and pointing to that. It says, or the core, oh my God, this might be worse than I thought. Bringing, influence up of the bringing. One's ability to mentally process. Okay, let me try to see. So, right now, what are we talking about? We're talking about each individual interacting with another or others. Who are you? In any given circumstance or scenario, what role do you play? You must know this. Again, it's per experience, it's per role. Sometimes you might be the head, the person that controls the circumstance or situation, because what? You have the resources or the knowledge base. Okay. Then each individual, where are you? And I've asked this many times, on an emotional level. Are you capable of offering support and or receiving support, etc., etc.? We've talked about it before. Where is your mind as far as your basic behavioral? It's more behavioral. Like, how do you respond to challenges, to circumstances, to situation, and to people? It depends on your level of maturity. And I'm talking about maturity, again, in behavior and thought patterns and reactions. You know, it varies for each of us. And that is, all of that is an accumulative result of our past life experiences. Where are you? In times past, we've covered these topics that had us evaluating where we are or were at any given time on an intellectual level, an emotional level. You know, it boils down to this. How can I say this? If life gets challenging in 2020, like you are sued or loss of supplemental services such as food stamps, because that's been an issue over the last couple of years, or health care, or anything that goes against your, we'll say, what is it, natural rights or constitutional rights, those kind of things. How will you deal with those situations and circumstances? For some, they have no idea what to do. What do I do if I'm sued and I can afford an attorney? Or do you have the mental capacity? Do you have the fortitude to defend yourself? What if, hypothetically, case scenario, you are a person that receives supplemental services of different types and those are cut or taken away? Who are you? Some people will not know how to handle the circumstance or situation, but then there are others that will know how to counteract that depreciation and support in their life. They will know how to. Instinctual, not instinctually, because they've, over in the course of their past, they have went and got educated, they got learned, taught, they know what kind of work they can do, they learn how to hustle, to make something, to bake something, so they can offset it. Those are just examples, right? So this is the kind of thing that we're dealing with. And our first glimpse into if we're capable, hi Alicia, is by being, what's the word? By being shown our strengths and weaknesses by those in our immediate environment, by those that we frequent. And so that astrological alignment, I'm still on the fourth house, y'all, is what it's talking about. Where are you? And so I'm trying to make it make sense, y'all. It would take so much writing. And it's about think's functional reality. Can you bring structure or order out of chaos? That fourth house Scorpio is, can you bring structure and order out of chaos? Examples I gave. Some people cannot put order in place once chaos hits. But then there are other people that can, make order out of chaos. So hopefully that made sense. Y'all, I'm going to try to move forward. Let's see, because this stuff is a rag. Oh, it goes on. Still talking about fourth house Scorpio. What else I got here? It says, something, say it. I don't know, what is it? I have no idea. I just couldn't write anymore. Core emotions and consciousness. Hold on. Core emotions and consciousness. Energy focused on interest, maybe, that can offer emotional support. So that's another thing that we talked about. What we talked about is the people that we're more likely to join forces with or keep company with are people that can really help us. So in 2020, what ends up happening is that there are many challenges. There are many changes to our structure. That Capricornian energy, the change to the structure, our physical worldly structure, the constructs, the rules, the laws, the regulations, the policies, all change. And they create challenges for many people, especially primarily in the United States. That's my focus because that's where I am. And so when a person faces struggles, they are less likely to want to hang out with people that aren't intellectually as savvy as themselves. Let me say it more simpler. You're more likely to join forces with somebody that's like yourself and is trying to combat or offset the challenges. And so that fourth house Scorpio is talking about dealing with people that ain't going to bring you down, ain't going to be able to limit you, but people that can help you. People that can help you. And that's what you want. And it's just being, I'll say, in relationship to someone who can support you. Remember, we talk about emotional support. Whatever a person needs in order to feel emotionally supported is different. Some people need a shoulder to cry on. Other people need a person to help them read something and interpret it. Just knowing that somebody is there to assist you, so you won't fall. And so those are the kind of people that we're going to want. Those are the kind of people we're going to gravitate to. This is dangerous. Okay. Going on. I'm trying to move forward. This is a long live stream. Grab your vices and something to drink while we ride this wave. I do anticipate it will be a little more entertaining for you, ladies and gentlemen, when we move to the next scene. But this information is really important in order to understand what is beginning to unfold for humanity in 2020. Forewarned is forearmed. So, moving on to the next house, which is, well, still, okay. Moving on. Oh, that's what that was. Oh, I see. What I'm looking at is the Mars symbol in Sagittarius, but it's still in the 4th house. Okay, I see. All right, now we're moving on to the 5th house from your perspective, to try to keep it as simple as possible. And the 5th house, the number 5, if you look on the outside of the wheel, is the 5th house. And it is primarily in the sign of Sagittarius, that pointy arrow, if you don't know. And so I'm going to interpret that area. And if I can read this. And it's a whole bunch of mess. Anyway, I have here creative expression in experiences, asserting self and interest in current experiences. It is about your awareness. Oh my goodness. Something details. Oh my God. I wish I could really see my handwriting. But I wasn't trying to write neat. I was trying to get it done. It details ability to coerce your desired reality, skills of manifestation, and assertiveness, asserting your will. Let me stop. Because remember, we started interpreting this chart talking about the self and how each of us have created what will our future will be, what the state of the world will be. We did it through our ego works and or our heart space work, whatever it was. We created our future. Now we're walking into it. Remember, when we deal with the ego, or Leo, it corresponds with the ego. That is the Sigmund Freud thing that we talked about it, the id, the what is the ego, the id, and the super ego or something like that. Anyway, it boils down to what is it? Self-preservation is first and foremost. It's about me. You know, it's about me, my physical security. It is about me being happy. It is about me making sure that I can partake in my vices and pacify them. It's about me being able to take the trips. It's about me being able to shop, or whatever your thing is. Or it's just about you being preserve your life and those up under your care. It's very egotistical. Either way. So now when we get into this house of Sagittarius, it talks about us moving into these unfolding experiences. We in real time life experiences. And guess what we gonna do? We gonna be asserting ourselves, because what? We want to have a certain outcomes. Now, when asserting yourself in real time life experiences, whatever they consist of, who is more powerful? What parties are more powerful? Are you the most powerful and influential partner in your environment, or is it someone else? Again, it depends on what story or what part of your story you're on, or what scenario, or who you're interacting with. Y'all let me know if I'm making this make sense. I'm trying to figure out how to interpret these charts quicker, but effective enough for y'all to really comprehend what's taking place in them. So y'all let me know. So anyway, so just imagine you're asserting yourself in your upcoming experiences for a purpose of satisfying self and attending to one's own physical, worldly wants, needs, and or desires. And so you move forward, still interpreting what you see in the 5th house. It talks about ambitions and works. So it talks about ambitions and works with social abilities and relatability. How tactful are you? How skillful are you? We've talked about this aspect of what is going to be in play beginning 2020, when we talked about me speaking with the spirit of beauty. how people that are beautiful have more favor. We also talked about this same aspect when we did Manifest Your Best Life or something like that. I think it was called Manifesting Your Best Life, in which I talked about those various laws of attraction, or the universal laws, and I talked about why they're not working for people, and I shared what I learned over the course of my life experiences. Sometimes you got to be real with yourself and understand that you're not a person that does not find favor because you don't do what? You don't fit the social norms, or the social was socially accepted, like the standards of beauty. We talked about it. Well, what is soon to take place is, what's the word? Is that governed? I don't know. So I'm just saying. Is governed by just how, I'll say, socially savvy you are, or acceptable you are, or persuasive you are. And that allows you or permits you to fulfill your ambitions, to get others to work with you, and to be able to what? Meet your goals. Let me see what else it says. It says take others into, oh my God, consideration and core emotional state development. What does that mean? Well, when you're working with these other people, you know, if you look at yourself and say, you know, I got that, what they call it, swag, social swag. So you find favor. So the goals that you have, you're more easily capable of achieving. You got swag. But what about the other 7.5 billion people in this world that you have access to? It's only a small percentage. Talking about them people that you work with in any given social setting. Where's their swag level at? You know, some people you are around and they are so lost. They have no idea what's going on when it comes to primarily either extremely old people or the younger generation. Their level of many of them, not all, but some of them, I'll say, levels of communication are not effective. Others cannot, I don't know, like communicate as far as in writing. You know, they don't understand what it means to be, some, not all, what it means to be proficient in a particular area in order to get out here and do what needs to be done in order to achieve your goals, right? So if you got a person that's full of swag, they will take advantage of those that do not have it, is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to try to keep rocking this. I don't know how this is going to go, y'all. Ride the wave with me, and you're going to discover something. You're going to realize something if you can just be patient. And okay. The next thing, now we're about to move around this wheel once again. We're going to the number 6. The 6th house is partially kind of covered because there is a lot of activity taking place here. Oh, y'all can't, I don't think y'all can see my mouse. And I don't want to click on nothing. The 6th house. And the 6th house is split between the sign of Capricorn as well as the sign of Aquarius. And so, you know, Capricorn is a great representation of our social structure, government. It's the rules, the regulations, the policies, etc., etc. And then when we deal with the sign of Aquarius, we're talking about humanity overall, the large social networks, those political parties that we join, all of those things that we've talked about. So let me go back and begin to interpret this space on this wheel that you see, which is surrounding the number 6. And scribble daily works. Working on what resonates with you. We talk about that a lot. You know what, y'all? All I want for Christmas, I'm going to put my Christmas list out here again. There's certain things I want for Christmas before I go for it. And you can help me get these things. I have a Cash App Me link. My Cash App name or link is $ Can Angels Fly Tarot. You can find that link on my homepage, here on my YouTube channel, the homepage in the upper right hand corner. What I want is some real simple stuff. I would like a new deck of tarot cards. I told my tarot cards, a couple of them the other day, because I'm a card player, and I flicked them hard like they really plastic coated. Told them a couple of them. I like those. And the next thing I want is I have no more paper. I wrote every package of paper up. I buy multiple packs of paper. I don't need any more paper. And the one thing that I need a remedy for, soon and very soon, is I got to go to the Dollar Tree or be gifted some more pens. Every pen I had. Look at this, y'all. This is ridiculous. This is just one bag. I got 3 right here. And some of that, every last one of them just didn't have the stroking ability I need. You know? You know when you get a good pen. You know when you get a good pen. As soon as it hit the paper. It's like this amazing feeling come over you when you get a good pen. You're like, ooh. And if you see somebody with that look in their eye and you done loan it to them, be like, don't you take my pen, give my pen back. See, I need one of them pens. Alright, y'all, I digress from my Christmas list. Anywho, I move forward. And I bought that up while I went on that whole rant is because the reason why my notes are so poorly written and I just couldn't get them down where they were legible is because either it was the quality of the paper that I was writing with. I was down to a notebook with a little puppy on it. I had 2 matching. That either it was the quality of the paper that no matter what pen I used, it wouldn't allow the pen to work. But then I switched paper. And then it was the pens. They would just stop mid-drift when I hit a curve or something. So I couldn't get it done. It was highly frustrating. It was driving me insane. And this has gone on for the last 2 weeks. So you know I'm about insane. About insane. That's why I got to share it. That's why my hair's sticking up. So, yeah. So I have to overcome them challenges. So that's why my notes are really a mess. So anyway, I'm going to try to keep reading because it's a mess. Parts of the letters missing until I can't really tell what it is. So anyway, we're on this space number 6, which is the 6th house, and the 6th house is in adjoining Capricorn and Aquarius, the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius. So let's talk about that. This talks about your daily works as well as social structure in the government, and it talks about you will work on what resonates with you. Hi, Yanni. How are you? What is your address? Look, my home address. Well, we have to do that in private email. In email. Thank you. You got a bunch of pens? Send them to me. I mean, if y'all really saw, it's like some supernatural stuff here I deal with. I mean, if y'all seen how many pens that I have. It's just unbelievable. I don't understand. Like, I even went to Costco's and bought the big thing of the little, the ones you see in the bag. Oh, they right here. All of them is pens. And I was like, ooh, I got it now. Because I do graphs and all kind of things. So it was this big bin of pens, you know, by whoever this is, Bic or whoever he is. But you know, if it's at Costco's, this is bulk. I was like, oh, I got it now. So it was all these different varieties and colors of pens. Then I go to the Dollar Tree and I snatch all the pens off. And I'm like, yeah, okay. In email, Yanni, I will. And so I'm like, I can't use them all at once is my point. So I keep them, you know, either in the container I buy them in or I buy Ziplocs. I'm a Ziplocky junkie. And I Ziploc them, push all the air out, and they still won't right by the time I get to them. I have, out of this dollar store pack, this is crazy. This is over the week. I opened this up maybe a week ago. This one. These are my last purchases. Oh, I got 3 pens, but these haven't been writing. Anyway, I went through these packs. Just in, this one was a little older. In the last week trying to write. Paper all gone. I mean, because it's driving me crazy. And I'm not a pencil writer, but I got different pencils everywhere. Just everywhere. And so I use so much paper and pencil. I'm guilty of promoting tree death because I need something to write on. But I end up having to have paper bonfires to burn all the papers that I buy. I mean, write on, you know. And these big bonfires, and I got so much paper I can't get rid of it all. And I end up having to throw it in the garbage, and I hate doing that because some of the stuff I have written be, you know, real intimate about everything. So anyway, okay, y'all, I'm back. Okay, sixth house. So we're talking about your day-to-day works and how each of us, remember 7.5 billion plus people in the world. There are people that are working in every arena, from the medical to the government to wherever people work at, the structure overall. That each of us focus on and work on what is important to us. That's what it boils down to. Everybody that is a government worker, it is important for them to go to that government job because they acquired it, and that's how they make their bread and butter in order to make their money to buy their bread and butter, or make their money to sustain their physical, worldly wants, needs, and or desires. Or if it's a doctor, same thing. Now, after we do that, we go make the money, then anything else we do is a priority to us. When we decide to be a part of any club or group, is priority. When we decide to focus our energy on any interest or anything, it's our priority. It's important to us. It's a key factor in the defining aspect of who we are as individuals. So when we talk about the sixth house, it's talking to each person in the world. You've chosen to do what you want to do because it was priority to you. Those are the works you did. And so those works have what? Outcomes. Anyway, or they're contributory factors to what will happen in the future. So let me see what else I got. It says, okay, the daily works, working on what resonates with you. It has here a Pluto destruction, Saturn represents boundaries and karma. Ceres, these are the zodiac signs and asteroids along the outer rim of that wheel in the sixth house area. And it says Ceres represents the physical mother, the mother at work, and laboring, doing, to make sure she sustains her offspring. That's the image, or the what they call it, the icon, not icon, the idol, the, you know, personification of an energy. That's it. And then we also have the sun in this area, and the sun is about vitality or keeping something going. Oh my, what is this? Something planned and commenced. I have no idea. Moving. This pen really was messing with me. Maybe, I don't know, moving. I have no idea what that is. I know it says plan and commencement. And so, in short, keep reading. Got to keep y'all, wait a minute. I'm trying to fill in the gaps where the pen was missing. Missing its strokes, the strikes. Got to keep commencing or going. Oh, got to keep commerce going. Setting up structure. Okay. Okay. What does that mean? What does all that mean? So, remember, we're talking about 2020 and what has been predetermined to unfold. And many of us are aware that our social structure is changing. Remember all of that astrological talk about Pluto in Capricorn and Saturn return to Capricorn and whatever else is in Capricorn. You can see you can see it here in the chart in the sixth house space. So it talk about how you, me, all of us, you know, prioritized what we would put our energy into. And there are certain people that have prioritized and put their energy into revitalizing, restructuring, and revitalizing our social constructs. And one of the primary social constructs that has been determined to be necessary to be kept going is commerce, business, and marketing, and different things like that. Big business. And so at this part of the chart, it doesn't seem as personal anymore, but it's telling us, hey, you better keep with your business and keep it running. Don't let it fail. Don't let it, fall by the wayside. Stay focused, Yanni. Stay busy. Get more knowledgeable. Access more clientele, whatever you need to do. But at this point in time, we start to think bigger. Thinking governmental structure under this Capricornian energy is saying the old system and old structures and old rules and policies and regulations are being updated, reformed, revised. And while all of this is going on, we cannot allow commerce or marketing to stop. We can't stop the economy. We got to keep it going. And so I need to point you to another live stream that I did. It was called The Secret Message. And the secret message went to detail and referred to the Great Depression of the 1930s and how it was set up and staged for the general populace to suffer financially, to be debilitated and therefore stagnated, while those with power and influence and money set up a plan to monopolize the board or the United States. And so their comments and their works and their business strategies never cease to be in motion. They just made sure the common layman and woman didn't have nothing to interrupt them. So the commerce is still going. So this is what the energy is saying. And one thing I need you to look at is that this wheel here before you, it is actually broken up. It can be broken up in different sectors. And so all the information that is within the AC to your left, swinging down and across to where you see the sun symbol, which is a circle with the dot, just a little past there, is hidden aspects that aren't obvious, nor are we aware of them. Like your inner emotional state, that kind of thing, or the true of having this true awareness or consciousness about being a have or have not, and what that means as far as social and political power. Those are hidden aspects. And so right here, we're talking about another hidden or shrouded aspect. And it's this aspect of understanding that your works do matter, that you have prioritized your interests, you have helped to build our future and continue to do so. Also understanding, based on the prior works that I've done and what I've shared here on YouTube, is that our structure is changing. It is not going to disappear nor vanish. It's being revised. Actually, I saw something most recently on another person's live stream that they received from a notification from YouTube saying, and I haven't verified it, I haven't yet to look for it, but I will, that we won't, when I say we, I'm talking about creators, will not be able to talk about the American economy and different things like that. It's going to be the silencing. This is part of the new structure. There will be a silencing of a person's ability to speak freely, or you will be penalized. Anywho, I digress from that. And so I'm talking about how while we are trying to tend to our day-to-day interests, whatever your interests are, whatever your job is, you're doing it, you're prioritizing it, you're helping to create our future. That there are other people, whether we talked about social groups, large social networks, churches, whatever is another major influential institution like political parties, which create what, like block votes, and a lot of people promoting a particular interest. You can think of those groups as individual units and spirits in this world too. It's just a whole lot of people with a like man that came together to be one entity, a very powerful entity. So those entities are moving forward on what they've prioritized is of interest to them and what they would like to see manifest into this physical realm. And one of those things is commerce, or the economy, to keep percolating and making certain people money. I'll try to say. Now we're moving around this wheel. We almost done, y'all. We're going to move around to the 7th house, and the 7th house is primarily in a sign of Aquarius. And so in short, we're starting anything above that little triangle to the right, up, swinging over the wheel, and beginning to descend upon the AC to the left, is more outward, visually apparent aspects of our existence. So, dealing with the space of 7. It says, results of partnerships, plans. Venus, which talks about collaboration. And with Lilith, and it's a personal drive. Okay, let me see what I got here. Self-serving to collaborate. We kind of talked about that. What am I saying? What is that rambling about? What it is talking about is how when we enter partnerships with others. Now, begin to think on a more professional level, a more extensive level, a more business scenario level, a more political level, a more global level. Now, the people, we know we're selfish, we're egotistical, but we must work with others. Now we're going out, we're really working with others. And we come to work with these others. We enter contracts with others, whether it's professional, personal, and or intimate. And there are terms and conditions on the tables. We've talked about it. And it's an ultimate plan. Ultimate plan. And the 7th house space is talking about when we enter these contracts with another. And we do our negotiating, deciding what the ultimate goal is. What's the greatest victory you can achieve in a contract negotiation? It is to be agreeable. For all parties to agree to the terms on the table and to move forward on it. Ain't no more hesitation. And so you will be able to see this in your own life. Those people that you can collaborate with successfully. And then you'll also recognize it's other people that you cannot. You realize when you can't collaborate with a person successfully, your chances of achieving that goal is nil. But if you're able to collaborate with others, without no drama, we call it drama, your chances just increase that you're going to fulfill your goal, and maybe so much more. That's on an intimate level. But then we have the more political or global or expanded level of contract negotiations. Big business coming. And so this astrological energy lets us know, this astrological setup lets us know that there are, we can say, big business and corporation doing business together. Dealings. Remember, commerce is always on the move. It's saying it can't stop. Don't stop that part. And so they are collaborating, and they have come to this place where all that arguing and fussing about stuff, nil and void. Get rid of it, because we got to harmonize Venus to make what needs to happen. Now is the time. Now is the time for big businesses, corporations, government departments, etc., to make it happen. We must collab. We must come to an agreement. We must collaborate and have that balance in order to move forward on an agenda or a plan. And understand each of these people that are in these contracts, whether it's intimate or more global or big business, they all out for selfish gain. But there's only so much you can do by yourself. So you must join forces. So they are personally driven, very, again, egotistical driven, overwhelmingly so. They will move forward. Now moving to the next space, which is the A space. Let me try to more quickly interpret. I'm trying, y'all. I have written here in this scribble, it says Pisces. Others to go fail. Oh, others will go to jail. It talks about the final outcome of works and different things like that. And so this is the 8th house Pisces. Yeah. It talks about others go to jail, to death, suicide, outcomes of undoing, not clear about what one will do or what one should do. Let's see, who will do, or who will do what. Not clear about who will do what. And so before I go any further, I don't want to forget that it seems like it's covert or hidden or shrouding plans that are in place on a national level, a global level. We're talking about political, governmental, as well as in some personal lives that are the plan has been set, just like we talked about in that video, The Secret Message, when we referred back and looked back to the Great Depression of the 1930s. The rich, the elite, sat in privacy and negotiated what they would do and how they would do it. They came to a decision, and that decision was to destabilize the population, the public. You know, just financially devastate them, and we can move forward without any threat on revising our structure. At that time, how did they revive structure? They built things such as the Golden Gate Bridge, opening up access to new lands in which there were business and commerce to take places. There was the establishment of new housing and different factories and the factory lines. And so when people finally got to get back up out of hardship, all of these institutions or big businesses and were established. Everything from, I think it had to do with the whiskey brand, was it Canadian whiskey? It was the Golden Gate Bridge. What is that tall building in New York? Oh God, I can't think of it. But you go watch that video. It's called The Secret Message. You can barely see it's in red and struck out. I go into more detail in that. And so it's talking about them coming together because they got to, this is a time to make it happen, to get it started, to get what started, to really destabilize society so that they can go ahead and put their finishing touches on the revitalizations they want to make to our structure and constructs. How does that look? We've talked about it. How it looks is like, remember, everything is going high tech. It is implementing like robotics into everyday life, like policing. It is the revitalization of the different supplemental services, pulling funds from that. Everything from, I don't know, that's the hard thing. I don't know, and that's what I didn't do, which I will do in my own personal time. I'm going to go and research all 15 governmental departments. Here's the lesson if you like. There are 15, I do believe, governmental departments. They all are interdependent upon each other, and each of them has a, what's the word called? A budget. And so those budgets will be adjusted, and whatever that departments, and then their sub-departments, are over, whatever purpose they serve, will be reorganized to be more beneficial to themselves, the government itself, big business, but will not take the little man into consideration one way or another. Now that's something to research and gather intel on or information on in order to understand the changes that are going to take place. There are some things that have been highlighted in the course of our most recent experiences. going back to when I don't even remember what the topic was about. I just know it was about food stamps or snaps or something. But I did a video on it. It's popular. You can look up, just type that in here on YouTube and get all kind of videos on it. But going back to that suggests there is a revision made and a deduction made to what? Supplemental services such as food stamps, Section 8, health care, all these kind of things. They've been planning in the dark. We think we know what they've been doing. We don't know what they've been doing. And they're ready to execute it. All that opposition that they face, they're ready to overcome and implement their systems, execute it, turn it online, where it has what? A straightforward impact upon the people. The thing of it is that all of these changes and or revisions that they are going to put into effect have already been implemented. They've been implemented on a few, but not many. This is the catch. They've been implemented on a few, but not many. So the few that suffered in silence. But the many, we're going to talk about it. The many could not see the suffering of the few. That was the time period that we missed, that we could have made a change. Whatever needed to take place. I ain't going to go into detail about that because I ain't trying to get sanctioned. But whatever needed to take place then should have took place, but it did not. So the many could not be empathetic or sympathetic, whatever the case is, to the suffering of the few. People were desensitized, didn't care, or indifferent, or impartial to others' life experiences and what was taking place for them. And so we're going to go into that a little deeper because it's going to get deep. Because now you're going to need to know what you're looking at once 2020 enters. What are you dealing with? Okay, so let me go. Where was I at, y'all? I forget. I'll be gone. I'll be here, but I'll be gone. So y'all with me? Let me take a sip, some pop, because we just getting started. So I was reading, talking about undoing. So once these systems, now I'm talking more on a governmental, I'm going to leave the more intimate, personal parts of our lives, even though this plays out on a microscopic level, which is our own intimate, personal lives, and within our own personal, intimate reality. It does. But I want you to see the bigger picture. When these influential governmental agencies put certain revisions in place, it's going to have an impact upon the people, and therefore an outcome. For some, it just depends on who you are in this physical world and how you're relating to it. Examples is a person can be, let's say hypothetically, revision to supplemental services. Let's say a person, doesn't matter, male or woman, they are denied a basic physical life-sustaining necessity, which is food. They won't give them food stamps or whatever, or adequate food supply, whatever, or assist with it, whatever. Whatever demands or requirements they put upon a person isn't even rational. Okay, so this person is without food. We've talked about this before. You can live, I believe, upwards of 21 days or 28 days. I can't really remember what it was before you literally starve to death. Okay, and so what am I talking about? Let me try to slow down. I've talked about these things. These are prerequisites to life. Requisites to life is you must eat, you must drink, you must sleep, you must urinate and defecate. So focusing on that. Requisite of life. You must eat food or you will surely die. And then you can last upwards of about, I think, 3 weeks with no food before you begin to suffer from malnutrition until you die. Okay. So now a person doesn't have adequate access to food. And they begin to go through that process. As a person goes through the process, one of the first things that they meet is the spirit of hunger. I've talked about the spirit of hunger. So when a person meets the spirit of hunger, that spirit torments them and tries to coerce them into going to eat. If a person cannot eat, they will do battle with that spirit. But that spirit of hunger goes into the spirit of malnutrition. And malnutrition, oh my, makes you understand why people will be cannibalists. But I digress from that thought. That spirit right there will have you steal, kill, and destroy anything around and about you in order to pacify it. Either you eat or you die. Or you kill in order to eat or die. And so what am I saying? Most people, natural response, innate response will be to do what is necessary in order to feed that spirit of either hunger or starvation. And that's the physical manifestation of malnutrition. So starvation, the spirit of being starvation. So you get what I'm saying? That's just one example of many across the board that people will be dealing with. It's just, okay, y'all. Ride this way with me. So you got people out here that's hungry. What they gonna do? They gonna steal, kill, and destroy. What does the outcome does that lead to? It leads to committing crimes. It leads to people going to jail. Other people don't have it in their heart to do certain things. And they will do what to themselves when they become hopeless? Yes, that super duper S word. Other people could do just like they did in the 1930s during the Great Depression, turn to what? Alcohol and drugs in order to try to escape their reality. So we have people that increasingly take drugs and alcohol. We didn't talk about it. We talked about how drugs and alcohol and other similar substances that we use to escape are things that are never, ever satisfied. We can only pacify them. And the only way we can pacify them is if we keep feeding them. But it's impossible to keep feeding them when you have limited access to the resources that you need, like money, to get the dope or the alcohol, or even food. And so that astrological aspect right there talks about a setup talks about that dynamic, and it's the outcome. And then there's also the outcome for those that have the power, that know how to manipulate circumstance, situation, and people in their favor. The magician. Okay, be right back. I'll be here, I think. So those people that are in power, who is the person that has control? What is their goal and or agenda? Is it for power? Is it for increased wealth? What is it? And I bring that up because that is their outcome. If they are successfully able to implement, we could say, unfair revisions to our social structure that further challenge people and or are debilitating to their lives and their ability to sustain themselves reasonably, helps them, those people in power, to achieve their goal of dominance, supremacy, however you like to label it. They have a goal. The next house we're going to move into, how is each person going to handle the unsent situation? What the heck is this? It's the urgent. Is that urgent situation? Okay, how is each person going to handle the urgent situation? The unrest situation? I don't even know what this word is. Peeing awful again. So, but that's fair. How will people handle this stressful, we'll say, situation? Oh, okay, it's current. It's current. Okay. How is each person going to handle the current situation? The current situation being those kind of scenarios beginning to play out. How do you handle that? when you say, for instance, you're a person that take public transportation, you got to get out here, get on the bus to go to work. Well, guess what? It's those people that's going to steal, kill, and rob that you're going to have to deal with. Some people, unfortunately, will have to deal with. And that's just one scenario. And I bring it up, and I know a lot of you say, well, that's been going on. You're right. You're right. Remember, we are co-creators to our reality, to our future. So all of these things that have taken that have taken place in the past. Remember, it was very rare that you heard about somebody getting armed, robbed, or murdered, or kidnapped, or pimped out, or holed out, or, divorce rates increasing. All of those were, what do you call it? Glimpses into the future. Glimpses. And so we've had our various glimpses into what our future reality would be. And we didn't do what was necessary in order to make sure that stuff didn't come full bloom into our reality during our lifetime, or those that come from us, our descendants' lifetime. We didn't do it. So now we're walking into a new paradigm. We talk about a new paradigm in which these things are more common. They are going to explode on the scene because of these changes to our social structure and to the constructs of our social structure. An example of such changes are, like, you hear about constitutional rights. How our constitutional rights are not being upheld. That will balloon. What else is it? Look at all the political arguments and the different platforms and the different disagreements about how to distribute the life-sustaining resources of this earth to 7.5 billion people. That's what it's all about, every part of it. And there are a certain percentage of the population of those 7.5 plus billion people in the world that feel a sense of entitlement. We are for the most part, some self-centered, selfish, and egotistical, even narcissistic individuals with a sense of entitlement. And there is a portion of the world's population that believes that they are better than others. And they have led us, this is me sidebarring, using new terms I've learned, to talk about how they have led us, but bamboozled us, to believe that somehow all of these natural resources, the life-sustaining resources on this earth, somehow are their possessions, and how others have to do works in order to partake in them. That is true, but from a different aspect. So I'll come back. But they are entitled to it all without ever having to stress or to have fear. And again, we've been brainwashed and bamboozled. That goes to show you how they think about you people. 7.5 plus billion people in the world. This is what they really think about you. That's where the term sheep will come from. Because you can't see that all natural resources are supposed to be readily available to everybody. Okay. Let me go on. Stop sidebarring. New term, bruh, and somebody I heard it from. Good one, y'all. So I go ahead, because I get to preaching to the choir. I almost bust out singing. Okay, so all these things are happening. The next thing, let's go into the ninth house space so I can move forward so we can kind of start having fun and be entertained and interact. But then y'all just hear me talk. Let's talk about the ninth house space. And the ninth house space talk about personal... personal dominating beliefs. I think that's what it's talking about. And consciousness. It has Chiron here, and it says assert asset. Antagonist over trauma. Overcomes trauma. Antagonist Maybe that's protagonist. Yeah, I think that was PM was really horrible here. Antagonist, protagonist, overcoming trauma. Okay, I'm hoping I'm doing this right. It's hard if I can't write it out. The ninth house space. What is it talking about? It talks about each of our personal dominating beliefs, such as the sense of entitlement. You know, is one of those. And then there, of course, there are so many other beliefs. Another thing that we talked about here on my channel, I made a video and it was talking about do you have any wooden nickels or something? I brought it up multiple times. Where it asks you to check your belief system, check your conscious awareness, your level of intellect. What do I mean? Let me see if I can say this better. Dealing with your personal dominating beliefs. Your beliefs will help you play the role, the energetic role that you're going to play from here on out. I use the terms protagonist, antagonist, overcomers, being more than a conqueror, as that corresponds with like the eighth house energy. Your emotional responses to circumstances and situations based on your beliefs. Hitler had a belief. He believed in world domination by the Aryan race. That was his belief. And because of that belief, Hitler became an antagonist to a whole culture. Then we have just examples. We have people that are highly religious. They are devoted to their religious beliefs and they follow a particular doctrine and partake in particular practices. That belief, that religious belief, helps them to decide what they will do in this world. Will they still kill and destroy? Or won't they? You know, will they be helpful, more charitable, etc., etc.? And those persons sometimes end up being sacrificial lambs because that religion at surface level does not offer them any power. I'm trying to give you examples of what this energy is about. It is about who you have come to be in the course of your life as a result of your beliefs. And therefore, it also suggests what type of power you carry or where you may be debilitated. Another thing about beliefs that has been trending just over the last year, especially here on YouTube, is about us who, the world, the people that create humanity, the 7.5 billion plus people in this world having access to social media and like YouTube. People that are teaching, people teaching don't have to have no degree, no life experience, no nothing, but they teach. And then there's the audience that follows them. And the audience can believe in a teacher that is miseducating them. But yet, the audience formulates beliefs and understanding based on those teachings. We talked about it. And then there are others that are exposed to excellent teachers that do have the, we could say, the accreditations, the accolades, the degrees, the world experience, the life experience, whatever the case may be, and they could be appropriately educated. And that education, we talked about it. If a person has been miseducated or appropriately educated, the time period will come for, what can I say? For an individual to find out if they've been what? Appropriately educated or miseducated. It says, the video I made was like, count your wooden nickels or something, or do you have any wooden nickels? It said, have you been sold any wooden nickels? Did you follow any false teachings, false prophets, misinformed instructors? Because if you followed it and you prescribe to it, then you've learned something that you're going to try to apply in this world, and you're going to fail because of it. Guess what? At the onset of 2020, that is about to occur. But if you are a person that followed a knowledgeable teacher, and you were taught, you didn't, how they say, don't give a man fish, teach him how to fish so he can sustain himself for a lifetime. If you was up under that type of teacher, the information that you've accumulated, the skills, the talents, and different things like that, you will be able to apply against these upcoming challenges that will begin to balloon in 2020. Oh, that makes sense. Hold on. Who is that? Who is me? I'm live. Okay. So you don't need me, right? You don't need me, right? Okay. But I am getting hungry. What we gonna eat? Nothing. I'm getting hungry, y'all. I've been working hard. We about to get to the fun part, y'all, but I can't rush this. This is like good sex. It's slow and sensual. So, now we know that. What else? So anyway, we can find a person under this, is it the ninth house energy, a space? Either a person becomes a antagonist because they feel like they got the upper hand, and what you're going to do against them if you ain't knowledgeable. You're going to become what they call, victim, is it a word? But if you are, an antagonist comes after you and you're ready, you're highly educated, skillful, tactful, know-how, you can handle the situation, you can hold them at bay. Let's say, hypothetically, an antagonist comes after you, and when I say antagonist, it's just a general, broad label, because we are talking about a whole world. We're talking about 7.5 plus billion people in the world. We are talking about different nations. We're talking about different aspects of life, from politics to this to that. So the scenarios, of course, change and shift depending on a person's story. Anyway, antagonist comes after you. A person that's just trying to anti-you and what you want and what you need to sustain your life, they come after you or to lead you to some difficulty. If you are not educated nor aware, at this time you could be going through that 8th house energy of death and transformation, meaning somebody destroy you, you lose your job or a house or a car, or you get sick or whatever, or you don't have that comeback, or you suffer some penalty because you don't know how to again offset it or combat it, and so I call that the state of being conquered. And then there are people that have, remember we talked about Chiron, the wounded healer. You done been through the ringers. Remember, all of this stuff we saw glimpses of. During them glimpses, you stood up and you rose to the occasion. You were hurt, you were wounded, you were devastated, you was broke, you was homeless, you was this, but you was an overcomer, and you kept persevering. You figured out what you had to do to get back up on your feet, and you did it. You lifted. You are a certified teacher. And so at this point in time, or in upcoming experiences that will begin to unfold in 2020, you get to say, this is what you need to do, or, give somebody some good advice, those kind of things. Those are overcomers, people that are more than conquerors, and it's that phoenix rising. It's coming out of the what is it, the dirt, where you be coming out the dirt, you back. Welcome back in here. I'm just running my mouth. And so it talks about that energy. But it's all about your, and then how you will uphold your core beliefs, whatever they are. Hitler had a core belief. Gandhi had a core belief. What's your core beliefs? And not just yours. Remember, there are 7.5 billion people in the world. And who are the most powerful people in the world? And what are their core beliefs and their ultimate goals? What is their agenda? And how can you stand against their agenda? Do you have the power, especially as an individual person? And I'm going to stop, because we were offered the opportunity to join forces as well in order to build a superhuman creature that was capable of dealing with big powers in this world. And most of us did not. Okay, finish reading that area. It says, what does it say? Public, social structure, social rep, military, or militant sudden responses. Oh, okay. So, maybe I should wait on that. Oh, because I was talking about the midheaven. Oh, let me see. Now let's go up to the top. The very top up here where you see the MC. That is the midheaven. This is a public view. In astrology, it represents, the public view, your what you're known for, your works in the world, and your reputation, social status, different things like that. Everybody can see that. Okay, so let's see now, and we're also going to deal with the space 10, which is the 10th house, and the 10th house is distributed or covers Taurus as well as Gemini. Let me read what I have here. It says social standing, quality of life, and lifestyle. What does that mean? Your social standing is directly related to your quality of life. Doctors earn more than people that pitch papers, and so you have a particular quality of life that's, we can say, corresponding or relative to the work that you do, or the profession that you have. It says here, devote to the cause of man, life or self, devoted to the man. Okay. It goes on, cusp, lifestyle, reality, soundness of mind asserted. At this point in time, under that 10th house space, people can be broken. So what does that mean, that 10th house space? It really means that the time period we are entering into, it is possible that people will be broken, literally broken. Broken psyches, broken hearts and emotions. That's food? For me? Yeah. Close the door. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm at the... Hey, wait a minute, come back here. I got to do something I usually don't do because I'm so hungry. I don't usually eat and talk. I'm afraid to. What is this? Trauma. Trauma. Where you go? I can't see. I don't drop it. I usually don't eat and talk too much. If I choke, y'all, I'ma just roll over in my grave. But I'm hungry. So, all the dressing is delicious. That horseradish dressing would be awesome. You got some Tabasco sauce? Yeah. Where is it? Downstairs in the kitchen cabinet. Okay. So the main one. I'll put there. Okay, y'all. So, what was this 10th house space about? It's a space that talks about a person can be broken because of what transpires in reality. Now we're talking about, how do I say? Remember we talked about Capricorn and its 3 different physical manifestations. It's people that work, do their works in this world from a very instinctual level, and they kind of go with the flow. They do what they must within the context of the scenario they find themselves in. Primary interest is to sustain oneself and to be able to provide for themselves their physical, worldly wants, needs, and or desires. Then there are other people that are more entrepreneurial. They really, what they call it, people that opportunist, and will do whatever it takes to satisfy themselves, and they can be very underhanded and devilish. And then the highest expression of Capricorn are people that are very conscious and aware about how their works in this world does matter, and that our works have an impact upon not only our soul but others' soul, as well as physical worldly well-being. And so think about each person in this world, 7.5 plus billion people in this world, everything from a bum to, I don't know, the highest expression of king or a queen, physical manifestation of the works a person can do, and therefore what they contribute into reality. Those works, whatever they are, let's say hypothetically I was using a doctor as an example, and a doctor having a relative lifestyle, but that doctor is able to have that career like a surgeon, because they have a level of mental capacity, and the mental capacity allows them. Some people, we talked about it, some people are on a spectrum as far as mental capacity, as being idiots to told you I love it, you love it. Thank you, Pam. Idiots to, what do you call it, geniuses. Intellectual capacity to learn, to understand, to comprehend, and to execute and do all that kind of stuff. And so this energy is talking about or focusing on how each of us are in our area of work, I'll say, or chosen work, because we have the intellectual capacity to partake in that work and to do those works and deeds. And we do them from, again, 7.5 billion people in the world. We're different. Some people do it from that instinctual nature. Certain careers line up more with instinctual natures. Other works line up with more entrepreneurial nature of intent and purpose and being knowledgeable and conscious about certain things and focus and discipline and ambitious. And then there are certain works that fit perfectly with the person that is conscious of their works in this world. Their works they will do and their works they will not do. So it talks about that, and how, again, it's talking about the soundness of our minds to be able to partake in whatever work we partake in, the way we partake in it, and for what purpose. It goes back to your mental capacity. The mental capacity, I don't know how to explain that. Y'all, I'm gonna have to figure out how to articulate that better. Okay, we're on the last two, y'all, and we're gonna go into the next level. I told you this was gonna be somewhat of a live stream, but this ain't nothing. As we up here, we grown and sexy here. We can do this all day long. Okay, so the next thing is the 11th house space, I do believe. And it says the state, and I was saying how a person can be broken. Well, a person can be broken when they realize, number one, they don't have, I'm going to give you an example. My brother, I got to stop. I got to give you an example to make this make sense. How people can be broken. This is just one example out of, I'm sure, millions of ways. My brother dedicated himself to the military services. He was a Marine, and he was a Marine for about, he died when he was like 36, I guess about 18 or 20 years or something like that. Anyway, he saw war and different things, so he had PSTD, he was nutty than a Bessie bug, very aggressive. He was highly trained, so he was we could say a danger to society. And so the military couldn't do anything with him because he was such a danger, to society. They didn't want him as a, what do you call it, they didn't want to be responsible for him and what he may do due to his mental state and him being highly trained. So anyway, he ended up, through his crazy acts, it was his crazy acts, he even went crazy, he got dishonorably discharged. You know what comes with being dishonorably discharged? Hard to get anything. And so after he got out here, of course he stayed employed. That's one thing that I think after you've been trained by our armed services, they get up early in the morning. You can't never sleep. So, he still was working and things. A major alcohol problem. We've been talked about him before here. But one day, excuse me, so slapping and stuff. But one day his addiction got the best of him. the alcohol. Led to his blood pressure going up through the roof. I think he was about 36 or something like that, 38. Can't remember. Been gone since 99. And it ran his blood pressure through the roof. Ended up throwing him into some form of a coma or something. Now, mind you, he was dishonorably discharged, meaning he lost all of his benefits, health, and everything. So I think they let him lay up there on the respirator for like 3 days. After 3 days, due to no insurance and things like that, they pulled the plug on him. Didn't really give him a considerable amount of time because he was healthy. Even afterwards, all his organs and everything was healthy enough to be donated. You know. And so they did not allot him after all his years of service. And he wasn't just a basic serviceman. I'll say it like that. I can't say the details here. Plus, I don't have it in front of me. But he gave, he went above and beyond the call of duty for, you know, this here United States. And so they didn't give him time to heal, to give him a chance to come back. 3 days later, they pulled the plug. He died. That's an example. Yes, most are alcoholics. I'm sure between everything they've been exposed to. But that's a broken. Had he become, I'm sure he was kind of broken when he was dishonorably discharged. Like, he was going crazy. I gave him all his years in life. And so, you know, that's a person that got broken due to the system's response toward them. Am I making sense? Had he say he had, when you die, you have an out-of-body experience. And he looked and see that all of his years of service and everything he gave up, and this was the response of our system to his service. That would be a broken experience that create a brokenness in a person. Now, in his case, he died, so he didn't get the brokenness experience. But that was a prime example that I could think of how what will occur to some will break them. Not having the ability, going to an extreme level, to not know how you're going to feed your kids. And literally being nothing in the cabinet or in the refrigerator to feed them. And seeing that nobody care. Don't nobody give a fuck. That's the best word to use, so I use it. That is something that will break a person. Yes, my uncle. Yep. I'm going to tell you, that back to that story with my brother. He died, so he didn't have any human experience. He was deceased. But it broke me. It broke like this illusion I had about this world and how it's set up and the structure. I know he had dedicated his whole life to Uncle Sam, you know. And I know that he became sick as a direct result of his service and the works that he did. We'll kind of come back to this a little later. And so that broke me. That all they were willing to do is give him 3 days to try to recover before pulling the plug on him. That's the best. And so at that time, it broke me. It broke me, number one, of my illusion about this physical world and the structure. It broke me as far as thinking that people cared. It broke me from thinking that the doctors had any control at all. You know? That broke me. And so that's just an example. And there are many ways that humans can be broken as a result of another's works. So, the next thing is the 11th house. I'll try to minimize my eating, but I'm hungry, y'all. It's about 4 o'clock and I haven't eaten all day. But I'm afraid to choke, so I'm going to have to chew my food up, whatever I put in my mouth, before I begin to speak. So, anyway, the 11th house space talks about the state of society, the world, humanity, reality, the co-created world. Okay, I'm at 11th house, the co-created world. Okay, so it points out that co-creation. What we will experience is a result of um, uh, our as a result of our works. It is a collaboration or an accumulative. Is our upcoming reality is a result of our accumulative works. The 11th house continued. This is Cancer, humanity's concerns, the ability to care or feel emotionally safe in this life. Going to care, but about what first? Okay. I need to refer you back to another video that I did. It was called End Time Prophecy, I think it was. And in that prophecy, I talk about the event or the experience that I had, which I received the prophecy, and that video was really long. But in it near the end, I think it was, I began to interpret the astrological energies, give a summary, and it was saying, like God was saying to us, humanity, you have become some selfish, self-serving, self-seeking, self-seeking, narcissistic, egotistical mother suckers. And so I have to re-educate you. And I have to help you get back to the place in which you actually know what to care about. I don't remember exactly how I said it at the time. And so we're going to go through these whole sequence of life experiences to get us back on the right track. And I bring that particular video up because this 11th house space here on this chart, on this wheel, refers back to that message. We're saying, okay, we working, saying like this, we working on you getting back on the good foot. We're working on you being re-educated and being truly aware of who you are in this physical world, what's required of you in this physical world, and what the ultimate purpose of your existence even is in this, while you're in this physical world, and also about your state of your soul. And so, first things first, it's like this caring. It's like the first phase is like allowing us to continue to move forward and to focus on and or prioritize and or care about the wrong things and going ahead and seeing the full result of it. And that is a part of the process that helps us somehow, some way, however this works, to finally be able to see what's more important. An example of what I believe is more important is to understand that we all are linked together, and that while in this physical vessel, we are very vulnerable, and it's a high maintenance suit, and so we're supposed to work together collectively in order to distribute the natural resources and knowledge that we acquire in this world to help sustain our physical existence for an extended amount of time, or a given amount of time. I don't know, how do I say that? I have to think how to say that. And that's what it's supposed to be about. And its purpose, the purpose is to re-educate us. Here in this vessel, in this physical world, we are re-educated. It's not that just that we are re-educated. It's like we are either, we could be punished or chastised, I'll say, for our wrongdoings in this world through our physical vessels. All the nerve endings and stuff like that, our physical five senses, you can be chastised. It hurts. This body can be hurt. Or you can be rewarded for some of the lessons you have. It feels good. Some things feel good to the touch, to taste, to, and so those are the kind of things. So So what is humanity about to do? We're about to be permitted to go ahead and to keep on caring about what we desire to care about. And for the most part, most of it's the wrong thing. Wrong things. It says the type of, let me see. Right now I have written here notes. Remember, they scribbly. Hades, indifference. Oh, desensitized. Type of what? You know what that is. Type of something. It says chronos, cleverness. I know what this is. Elitist. Turn your head. Okay. So as humanity moves into this upcoming, as humanity's future begins to unfold, we will continue to move forth in our efforts, in our interests, and we will be who we are. And remember, the things that we care about. Let me give you an example. Try to make it make sense. What do we care about? We care about Atlanta housewives. We care about You Think You Can Dance. We care about name brand clothes, academics. What's them? True Religion, Chanel purses. We care about rap and mumble rap. We care about being free and riding the, what do you call it, the canals of Italy and rowboating and romancing. We do not care about the basics or the foundation. When I say the basics and or foundation, I'm talking about what it really takes to survive. I always say it. I love this place. I love Earth. I love the food. I love the clothes. I love the men. I love traveling. I like all of it. It's good. It's good. It pacifies me. Woo, feel good. But the reality is, the only reason I can do what I do, and most of you can do what you do, is because we have technologically, we have advanced so technology that we are living hands-free. We don't have to get out here and build houses ourselves. We ain't got to chop wood. We ain't got to hunt together. We ain't got to be afraid of the dark. We way past that. So we don't have an issue in the fundamentals of sustaining our physicality. We are on a whole nother platform now. We live hands-free. And so we care about those things that allow us to live hands-free. We don't have to be highly intellectual. Not no more. We don't even have to do the work. We can offset it to somebody else. We don't. What is that? And I'm live. Rue? I'm live. How was the graduation?
Pretty cool.
High five. What's that?
A little kit bag.
Oh, they gave you up for graduating?
Yeah.
Go on with your bad self.
Where we go?
You going to the gym?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's your sister?
I'll come to the house.
Tell them be quiet. And George too. Everybody be quiet. I'm live and I'm going to be live for a while. Do not lock that door because I do not want to have to get up in the middle of my live because I'm going somewhere with it today. We are riding the wave. This is the real deal. This is the real accumulative message. So, hot dang. Okay. Okay. So, this is an important aspect that we're going to talk about. And it is that those things that we care about. Going back to more national and government-centered issues like supplemental services reform, reforms to medical insurance and different things like that, things that will really have a major impact upon the humans that create humanity and their ability to feel comfortable and secure in this physical world while they're here. Now, it seems to me, based on this reading, that the government or other mechanisms that exist that we can't see, that are obscured from us, are about to implement some revisions or changes that's going to have a negative impact upon many people. And so people going to be going through it, however you go through it. You know, I don't know if a person was going to become an alcoholic, a drug addict, if they're going to kill themselves, if they're going to prostitute. I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to have a response to the threat. And then there are those, we talked about them, that may live at or even above the upper middle class level. We talking about economics, not finances. They may be okay. They can pay their way out of most circumstances and or situations. They may not have as much money to travel and do as they grown accustomed to. But heck, I know people that take multiple vacations in 1 year. And that's their norm. You know, I know people that they seem like they vacation and leisure more than work. It's their norm. And I'm talking about legitimate, particularly hardworking people. So they can sustain this hit that is about to take place. But it's those type of people. This is a group of people. They all look different. Different races, nationalities, demographics. It's different. A variety of people. But these are people that are going to close a blind eye to the suffering of others. Now, I ain't talking about them people in the past, the us. They closed the blind eyes to the glimpses of what we were creating for our future reality. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about, like, example, tomorrow you're hungry and the person that has something will do nothing but talk about you, belittle you, shut you out. If let's say what do they call it, for lack of better words, the political reform benefits them, they will support that political reform because they're okay. It is a state of being desensitized, totally desensitized and connect. There is a great divide that is happening. We talked about a great divide before, and it was a great social divide. There is a division that is occurring due to beliefs. There are certain people that believe that there are, I can say, more privileged groups here. And hi, how are you, Jazzy? Oh, you say Pam. You said is perfect, father suckers. Which sister of mine that was always in our business? You're the one that's always in your business. Well, you know, I have family members that I know they've already displayed the kind of character traits I'm talking about. They have achieved the upper middle class level or low millionaire level. And they don't see the world the same way you see the world. They're not experiencing the world the same way you may be experiencing the world. As soon as I eat this, I'm going to give you some more stories as an example.
Hey, Roger's on here to fix your toilet.
Here, answer phone. I'm live. Please get out. And I don't want to talk. Please get out.
Hello?
Okay, turn off the extra lights. So, okay. An example. I tell you, I was offered to be able to be the overseer of certain kingdoms. It is the babies, the kids, the young adults, and the old people. This is no different. Young person comes into my life, and I got to break bread. I tell you I'm fat because I've cooked basically my whole life 3 meals a day, and I broke bread with everybody that came to sit at my table in order to be a consul. No different. So, young person, is in my life, and we sit at my table regularly for about a year and a half. For a year and a half. And during our discussions, this person, I've talked about them before as well, referenced them, talks about their dedication to the street and the street life and the hood and everything, and talks about his mom and dad, one being an alcoholic, the other on drugs. He talks about not being bum, busted, biscuit shoes, hair not cut, and it's the hood, the hustle that helped him survive. I told you they was gonna bust them, Pam. You talked them up. And so I did a lot of counseling with that person. I also talked about how that person ended up losing their life due to relative shenanigans associated with the street life. Okay, but what I learned from that person was something that I wasn't highly aware of. I wasn't conscious of it. And he wasn't the first person, but it was in those conversations with him. It was his tears, of his pain, the trauma that he had suffered as a result of his unique life experiences that he helped me see. What did he help me see? How I, as an example, was oblivious to and or indifferent to and or didn't care about his experiences and other people that have had similar experiences as himself. He's a product of his environment. Grew up, selling drugs, limited education. Actually, he's more educated than most of the people in his family. Got to the level of college. Trying, but how can I say? I'm going to give you an example. I try to sum it up because that would go so deep. But a lot of people, a lot of young people, awe at my children. Many young people have stated that my children are spoiled and spoiled rotten. Trying to summarize this concept up, where me and my kids are like confused because we are what people deem broke, with no support, things like that. We're struggling every day. Can't breathe, wondering if the demands of life are going to be met. But these many other young folks, and some older, say that they are spoiled rotten because they, how to say this, because I'm losing it, because they have decent clothes, because their hair is done. Because one of the things that was really shocking to me by another young person is that my kids were allowed to be able to go in the kitchen and select what they wanted to eat without having to ask me. Only thing I ask them to do is agree on what we're going to cook. If we're going to cook wings, everybody have wings. That's what's for dinner. You know what I'm saying? But they could go in the kitchen and literally select what they wanted. One of their friends talk about how the first time they came to my house that the kids asked them, you want to have some waffles or pancakes for breakfast? And they was like, yeah, okay. Said we went down in the kitchen. They pulled out the little waffle iron and we got the mix. They got the mix out and we sat there and we mixed all the pancakes and waffles. We pressed and we ate. We made some bacon. She said, they said, I ain't never had that before. Said then they had the syrup and the butter. I ain't never had that before. And I bring it up because these young people tell me that nobody ever cared. Come from my perspective. I did not know that my kids, I'll just say it like this, were privileged. These other young folks saw my kids as privileged about things that I assumed were just basic things, everyday things. I did not know the trauma, I'll say, that these others were facing. I was oblivious to it. Dang, I don't know how to say it. Because what I'm trying, let me try to explain what I'm trying to get across. I'm trying to get across is about what is going to soon transpire between you and others in this world. There will be people that, worst case scenario, go homeless. You won't care because you got a roof over your house. You won't care to help them or extend a hand because there may be so many crimes you don't know who to trust. You can't open your door because if you're, what they say, no good deed goes unpunished. So you won't open your door. Then there's going to be other times that you're just oblivious to a person, maybe your neighbor, being hungry and or without. Is it because you don't talk with them, or you just don't want to know because you don't want to be responsible for feeding them? Then there are others that have this sense of elitism. I hope that's a real word, elitism, where they are established, they're fine, they have food in their cabinets, their bills are paid, they're nicely dressed and presentable, or whatever the case may be. They are employed. They could be employed at a mediocre job. Remember, 7.5 billion people in the world. It's a whole spectrum of people. People from office workers until they might be, sitting in the Queen's quarters in England. I don't know, but they're okay. And because they're okay, they have no idea of what's going on in your life. And even though they can see the spirit that is taking place in our reality, in our future, beginning 2020 and beyond, they can see it. They can see it because of all the news reports of people being, robbed because they're, somebody was hungry, or people losing their homes. We've already had hundreds of thousands of people lose their homes to, don't put that over there. Their phone started ringing all the way over there. I never get it. Okay, go out. Please close the thing up. Congratulations on your graduation.
I'm going to go change the suit.
Okay, yeah. Do not lock the door. Turn all those lights off.
Okay.
Make sure ain't no fire on or nothing.
Okay.
Don't burn me up in here. I got work to do. So, ooh, my butt, y'all. I'm really going to focus on this part of the chart because it was pretty savvy. The alignment itself and the meaning is savvy, man, because it talk about a person's level of cleverness. Who persons? We'll say, hypothetically, for example, people that are all right, especially financially, during this upcoming time period, 2020 and beyond, they okay. They okay. Maybe their pension is not being affected, but it's the next generation that pension be affected, so they okay. It's a person that has made some good investments and were lucky or found favor. They okay. You get a higher level of living, upper middle class, rich or wealthy. You okay, but they not. And it's that inability to acknowledge that the other or another is living hell here on earth. It is a cleverness of mind. It's a trick of the mind and the spirit to be able to deny or ignore realities that exist simultaneously in this world while you here. Does that make sense? You ignore it. You know it's true. It's all on the news. You hear it all the time. Your account is, let's say you're a real wealthy person, your account getting real bigger, but because you're a business person, that the only reason why your account getting bigger because all them employees up under you, their income is getting smaller. And we know the relative experience to a smaller income is them people cannot sustain their lifestyle. But the employer, the person that making the money, the head, will turn their head as if it don't exist. Remember, this is not new. We got glimpses of what this would be years ago, and we did nothing about it. Give you an example. Some folks got out here and picketed, saying minimum wage need to be raised to $15, $19 an hour. Even if it was, the cost of living is so high. I don't think it's what's they call it? It's still disproportionate. Okay, so we got out here, but how forceful were we in making sure that people got reasonable wages for their day's work? We weren't. And it wasn't just that the people that was out there picketing, the force wasn't big enough. The voice wasn't big enough. Number one, they were already making minimum wage or not enough to live on, or only earning enough to still be deemed at poverty level. So who's listening to them? They had no favor. They did not fit the standards of success. So who are they? Who would listen to them? Nobody. And nobody did. But there were people that did have power. I'm talking about back in the day when we was getting the glimpses. That should have stood up with those people with the picket signs. It was the bosses that hired themselves and says, I know that is wrong. We got to do something about this. We got to make this more proportionate so that people can have a reasonable way to sustain a life. They did not. They stayed egotistical, narcissistic, self-serving, and self-seeking in their nature. And they did what? The rich got richer and the poor got poor. We saw the glimpse in the past. Now it's time for all of that to unfold. So what was all that ranting about? I'm talking about people that are going to blatantly turn their head to the realities of people suffering and hardship because they're okay. Hopefully I made that make sense. But that was just so interesting to me when I saw that here in the interpretation. Totally desensitized, indifferent, don't give a long as I'm okay. But it's that tricky spot where some of the people that one day are okay will not be okay the next day. I don't know what it takes. I don't know if it takes for a person to become sick and can't earn and go through their life savings to not be okay. You know, that takes time. Sometimes it takes years, so we don't see those kind of things coming for us. But it's going to be those that come from fall from high to low. And guess what? But I just said to them, nobody will be sensitive to your plight either. So anyway, that's what it is. People not being sensitive to other people's plights. Okay, the last house, y'all, because I done kept y'all on this chart for 2 hours. Okay, the 12th house. The 12th house space, what it's about. Let me read my scribbly notes. Especially, before we move from that segment I just did, that section. Remember, we got to start thinking more nationally and globally. What about the elitist? What about those people in power? They are what? Desensitized to your plight. They have no idea what it means to suffer, or to be hungry, or to be discontent, or to be homeless. They have no idea. An important word, a word that is going to be important from here on out, is the word consciousness. They have no conscious awareness of what it means to be hungry unless they decided to fast for a purpose and for an appointed time, meaning there was an end and they could end it at any time. But they are, whether their person is an elitist or just a person with a reasonable quality of life. Is it stopping? They are desensitized to a person's plight, struggles, challenges. They have no idea what it means. So a person doesn't have any idea what it means, since they don't have the conscious awareness, they can't sympathize. See, if you don't know the pain of being outside, homeless, in the cold, in the winter, and how it feels when the frost bite at your skin, you don't have anything to help you understand the suffering. And therefore, move you to do something to make sure that nobody else ever feels the bite of the frigid cold, the bite of hunger or starvation, the bite of just worrying if you're going to have a roof over your head or food to eat. This is the time period we're moving in. as we enter the year 2020. Understand our historically standing social structures are changing. They're not being done away with. They are changing. They are being revised, and they are being revised in a way that is going to be detrimental to a large portion of humanity. Obviously, collectively, we have chosen not to ascend, but to descend down, or descend this place into a state of hell. Let me see. Did I do the 12th house? Because I get to preaching, I get passionate, I get upset. Okay, 12th house. Outcome of caring what you care for. You're going to care what you care for. You're going to focus on what you're going to focus on. You're going to promote what you're going to promote. It says creating future. The undoing. Creating the future. Arrogance. Deep think and can only think of self. Yeah. Okay. This, how can I say it? Can only think of self. How can this 12th house, the final space, and we're going to move from this wheel, is about each individual in humanity being at this place where they can only think about themselves. Especially those, let me give you an example. We talked about it. We were talking about the government shutdown. I think it was last year and the end of the year, prior year. I came and I made a video. It was talking about an alternative reason for the government shutdown or something. And the alternative reason for the government shutdown is to make employees submissive to the employer. Another word is to make the working class, the people, submissive and subjected to their to the government, to the employee. These people were afraid. Many of these people work every day, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. They made just enough to have a particular lifestyle. Most of them have food on their table. They could pay for their dope, their drugs, their alcohol, their trips, their clothes, or whatever they decided to do, whatever they prioritize as first and foremost in their life, they were able to do it. These are just human people. Then the time comes and the government shuts down for an extended amount of time. Wasn't it about 3 weeks or so? So these people missing about 2 checks. And you know, they say one check away from disaster. Okay, so, or something, 2 checks away from disaster. So those people, the government took these people, these working class people, to the brink of disaster. These people suddenly couldn't get their dope, drugs, and alcohol that is well hidden because they can afford to buy it, barely, and to dress appropriately so it's not obvious to the public. Okay? But family members know. Friends know. And they themselves know. But okay, it's shrouded. We cool. We love y'all. These people couldn't get their stuff. They couldn't get their fix. Then there was other people couldn't make their car notes, their house notes, and different things like that. They couldn't buy groceries. I talked about how I know people that would choose to go shopping, the shopping experience, rather than buy food. Anyway, they understand slim and trim, and so they put their money on clothes, shoes, and purses. Personal choice. Prioritize it. Nothing wrong with that. We love them family members too. That's what they do. But for a person that is expecting a check and saying we can go grocery shopping next week, and then they don't get the check, guess what? Them people didn't have no food. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that was a traumatic experience for all of those people that did not work for the 3 months or month, whatever it was. They didn't work and didn't have any money to come in. And then on top of it was some people that was made to go to work that didn't get paid, meaning they had to have money for transportation and lunch. What money? They didn't get paid. Meaning the people that successfully finally saved up some money probably spent that. Others took out loans, etc., 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 etc. Why do I talk about all of that? I forgot. Old people problems. Let me go back to my notes. I'm talking about it because it has created a submissive character. What aspect she describing? I am talking about 2020, the whole thing, the energies that will be, ushering us into the future is what I'm talking about. Hello, welcome here to Can Angels Fly Tarot and More, taught by me, Nancy. If you're ever interested, I am a professional tarot reader. If you're ever interested in ordering your own personal tarot reading, all you have to do is contact me by email. My email is canangelsfly1@gmail.com. I also ask you to like this content if you enjoy it, to share with somebody, and if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. If you're interested in submitting a love offering, that is financial support or a Christmas gift to me, feel comfortable to do so by going to my Cash App Me link, which is, money sign Can Angels Fly Tarot. Okay. Back to this 12 hours. Why was I going on a rant talking about all of these things, all this trauma that the working class has gone through? It is because, and that's one of the things that plays back into people turning a blind eye to the suffering of others. It's because, like the working class, they have been so traumatized through that government shutdown that they don't ever want to go back through that again. So they're going to push the buttons that they've been told they were hired to push. They're going to do what they're going to do. Even though it may lead to some loss or devastation for another, they can't even fathom not being able to meet the demands of life the way they need them to be met. So it causes them to be desensitized. This is not for all, but it is for the majority. So let me see. You think can only think of self. So basically, yeah. And so this is why I use those examples, that government shutdown and the people that were affected by it, because it is about how people are at this point now, where they can only think about themselves and their own survival. And that in itself, understand, we are creating our more distant future. We're creating our more distant future. So I kind of want to summarize that right there. What does that mean? That means all of this being desensitized and disconnected from other people's suffering. And there's people suffering on a large scale. They broke, hungry, homeless, whatever, dumb, whatever the case is, right? Turning your blind eye. Guess what? It's creating the future of our future. So future than future. We way in the future. Okay, y'all. I'm about to take a bite. Oh, we got yellow peppers in here. What she say this thing was? It's some type of wrap. But, okay, it's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock and it's time to rock. We're gonna rock. I'm getting pumped up, y'all, because we about to go into the fun stuff. Get ready. Get ready to be interactive. Be interactive. I gotta eat something, y'all. I'm not gonna keep jumping around and choke myself. Okay. Hopefully this is set up correctly. I'm gonna jump here. Let's see. I'm gonna go here. Even though I hadn't planned to. But okay. You're ready to ride this wave. Get ready to be interactive. Activate your mind. Let's think about some stuff. There are, 7.5 plus billion people in the world. It's you, it's me, and it's others. Who are you in this world right now? Who will you be as we enter into a new, decade? As we enter into 2020, as we all walk into the future together, what role do you play? Are you a protagonist defending against the unjust or the person or the establishment that is against you? Do you take up arms to try to withstand the wrongs? Do you? The miseducation? Or are you not? Not everybody is a warrior. I must say that. But what I've come to see through my studies and my life experiences is that there are real warriors in this world. You let me know if you can hear me. There are real angels in this world. Now, in past times, I have done videos that talk about the beast within, the spirits within. I talk about how each of us should maintain we should be captains of our own vessel. And when I talked about cohabitating spirits within each of us, well, what is soon to begin to unfold in 2020, or as 2020 comes in, is that our cohabitating spirits will begin to announce themselves big and bold as shit. When I say our, I'm talking about each individual that creates humanity. Our superhuman powers will be online. Superhuman powers. We done talked about that too. So I'm explaining a little bit more. I don't know how this is going to go. Okay. Before we move from this page, let's also note that there are those that are antagonists. Those are people that are against you. They're anti you doing better. They are anti your survival. They're anti you having a good life. They're anti you having the things that you need to meet the demands of the requisites and the urges of life. Many antagonists, they come in different forms. And I want you to really look at the characters and the images in the picture, because remember, it's just us. There are 7.5 billion people plus in the world. You, me, and others. This is an example of how we look externally on the outside. But on the inside, it's a whole nother thing going on. There are those internally, on the soul level, that are mighty angelic warriors. And then there are others out of these 7.5 billion people plus in the world that I speak about, internally, in the state of their soul, they are truly demonic entities in a physical body, ready to do battle with another. Okay, y'all, I don't know how this is going to work. So I got one more. It's just us. It's just us. Right now, y'all gotta let me know if y'all can hear me, because I'm kind of glitching on this side before I go in. And if y'all interactive, y'all gonna hear me chewing and slapping during this time. I'm trying not to. But y'all let me know if y'all can hear me before we go into this next presentation, part of the presentation. I would like it to be interactive. So I would like you to make comments and statements. I'll try to ask some questions. I wanted to, again, create an outline, but it'd be just a little bit too much work for me to do. And the outline I would have created had that moved forward would make little statements or relative statements to which you will soon see and witness. Okay. Hi, new people. I don't know y'all. What up? I'm back here. Hold on. Where I'm at? Can I get back to y'all? Out there. I'm eating. Oh, okay. Let me see something. Because maybe if I do this. Oh my God, I gotta hurry up. I don't have time. Well, okay, I got 1 more hour. And it shouldn't take that much longer from here. Now, what I do want to point out, that's not centered. But every now and then, after this point, I'll come back here so that y'all can see my beautiful face. Y'all know I'm still here, and we still make sure we still connected. And then I'll finish what I'm about to move to do. And so I was talking about us, human beings, and how our soul is in this physical vessel, and we have cohabitating spirits within ourselves. These are all topics and subject matters that we've talked about over the last several years on my channel. And here's another one. What you see on each side of me are dragons. If you follow me, I've shared with you and I've testified to you that I am aware of some of the cohabitating spirits within me. And one of the primary cohabitating spirits within me is a double-headed dragon. If I knew how to, do graphics and animation, I literally would have had the dragons coming out my neck and snarling and slithering like I saw them when I was introduced to them. But since I don't have those skills, this was the best I could do. Within me is one of many cohabitating spirits, and the spirit is that of a double-headed dragon. It is a spirit of perverse, violent, rageful anger. It can be deadly. And in one of the videos or live streams I made, talked about being a captain of your ship and maintaining control of the ship. This spirit, Nancy, that is now Nancy, controls my vessel and does not allow this double-headed dragon to seize control of this vessel. Yes. No, I am live, and right now is not a good time to talk. Nope, can't help you. Bye. Okay, well, I'll call you in a short minute. Hold on to your phone so we can holler. Bye. Okay. Made me forget what I was talking about. Anyway, meet my one of the spirits within me. Okay, y'all. All right, get ready to get interactive. I don't know how this is gonna go, but if we can work it right, it should be okay. So what we're about to do is, let me see where I was. I was here. Oh, yeah, it's us. It's just us. It's me, and however you look on the outside. It's you, however you look on the outside. It's everybody or every person in this live and in the chat. And however you are, it's just us. It's just our spouses. It's just our moms, our dads, our uncles, our cousins, the other people in our neighborhood and or community. It's other people in our state and at our stores and at our malls and things. It's just us. It's just 7.5 plus billion people in this world. And how they look, how they present themselves, it's just us. That's the best way I can put it. It's just us. So at this time, we're about to move forward, and we're about to discover the spirits that dwell within people. I am only able to offer you a few examples, actually about 30 examples of the spirits that dwell within people. These are some very basic spirits. I tell y'all, I see spirits and I see them on people, and they, resonate from a person. And so I'm going to try to show you some imagery that conveys the spirit, a spirit that a person can embody. We call it, in layman's terms, their character. I guess their disposition. Let's see. Understand as we move forward that any individual can have multiple cohabitating spirits within them. I just told y'all about my double-headed dragon, but I have other cohabitating spirits within me that I have to make sure do not seize control of my physical vessel. Because only if I allow them to seize control of my physical vessel Can it move me in this physical realm to make a change or to do something? Whether it is destructive or positive. It depends on what the entity wants to do. So, right now, as mentioned, we're about to look at a person in the physical, the way we see him. With the, hair, face, everything. Just normal people, just like us. And we're also going to be experiencing that person's, at least one of their cohabitating spirits. The reason why we're going to take a look at this dynamic about a human being or a human existence is because as we move into 2020 and beyond, we will be dealing with and facing off with others cohabitating spirits. So I would like for you to know what you're looking at or dealing with in your reality. Only to have a spiritual eye. Here's a superhuman power, a spiritual gift. Only through the spiritual eye or the third eye or the ability to see or the ability to discern will you be able to see what spirit is really animating a person at any given time. So I hope that made sense. Let me see if I can do this. So it's us. Let me see where I'm supposed to go now. What am I on? Nope, not that one. Us. Let's begin with us. Maybe I start. I don't know if I'm safe to start that way. I'll start this way. Now, I understand that all of these spirits that I will be introducing you to are spirits that you probably have been familiar with or are familiar with. And you may have, disregarded a person's character trait or personality as insignificant. But I'm here to tell you it's very significant. And if you want to know what you're dealing with in years to come, I suggest you get familiar with the different type of spirits a person possesses. As it is those spirits that will be doing business in our reality. Let me see if I can make that make sense. This first fellow is deranged. The spirit that backs this fellow is the spirit of being deranged or derangement. And that spirit uses that physical vessel that you see in the front, what they call it, the front of the image, to interact and to interface with this physical world. This fellow has, for the most part, 5 senses. He can hear, he can see, he can taste, he can touch, and he can smell. And therefore, he has been built to interact and interface with this physical 3D realm. So, the spirit of derangement is embodied inside of him. And it also manifests on his physical vessel. An example, I chose this character because he's discolored somewhat. He has a tattoo on his face. And he's in this thinking posture. What is he thinking about? Whatever his thoughts are, we know that they're deranged. So when you meet this person, an example of a person like this. This is an example of a person you may meet here on after. When they are interacting with you, they could, any thoughts they have are deranged thoughts. So if you make a request of them, like to say you need help with I gotta put an example down here. Let's say, hypothetically, case scenario, a person gets to a place in the near future where their sense of physical, worldly security is threatened because they don't have food on their table. We're going to use that scenario. Well, they go to this deranged person and say, hey, uncle, I need some food. Well, uncle is deranged. So any plans uncle come up with will come from a deranged state of being. Do you get what I'm saying? Understand what you are dealing with. In this case, if a person is not discerning, they would go to our proverbial uncle here and make a request to be assisted because they can't see. But if you can see, if you have the sense of discernment, if you have a third eye, then you will already realize that uncle is deranged. Uncle is not the person to go to ask for assistance, because any suggestions or any contribution uncle may have is going to be seasoned by the spirit of derangement. Hopefully I made it make sense. Let's see how this goes. The next person, remember the scenario is that in the near future, there is a person that is out here whose sense of physical, worldly security is going to be threatened because they ain't got no food. We don't believe it just like that. Food is a necessary requirement to sustain one's life, and either you die or you gonna meet the demand. Who do you go to next? Oh, that's not gonna work. Okay, I do gotta go start from this way. Falsehood. We're in this world. Somebody is starving. Let me see. How was I gonna do this? Anyway, I actually look at the imagery first and foremost. When you look at the imagery, you see 3 skulls. Hopefully you can tell is hear no evil, see no evil. But we have another skull with his mouth wide open. Wide open. Telling all the business. Falsehood. There will be people that, there are people that embody the spirit of falsehood. These are people that weren't honest witnesses to anything. They really don't have any hardcore information or facts, but they will give a storyline, an imaginary storyline, a made-up storyline, or their perspective, or a he-say, what is it called? Hearsay, against another. And this kind of spirit is the kind of spirit that could easily be embodied by a person that is in that that we'll say peer group of people that in the upcoming future, relatively more recent upcoming future, they themselves are in a good place financially. Let me see if I can make it make sense. I got to figure out how to ride a wave for this to make it make sense. Let's say I'm gonna do this. Oh, I should have announced earlier. I guess it's almost the end of this. This live stream will not be politically nor socially correct. So I'm gonna put that disclaimer here right now. It will not be politically and socially correct. So let's give it here. Here's an example of what I mean. Let's say I got a scenario. Let's say there is a Caucasian older white female. She lives in a complex. Our times are changing. She's watching the news. She's a frequent news watcher, and she sees a story of all these stories of robbery, killing, stealing, destroying. But nobody hears the backstory about people being hungry or homeless or whatever the case may be. All they hear is they committed a crime. Most times, unfortunately, when we hear those kind of stories, usually it's associated with people of color. And so, she has a neighbor next door who is falsely accused of committing some crime, but it's not the neighbor. The neighbor is doing okay. They are sustaining themselves. What they are guilty of is being a person of color. But this Caucasian woman older woman has begun to feel uncomfortable and unsafe in her environment because of all the stories she's heard on the news. You know, all the propaganda. And it's gotten to her on a deep psychological and emotional level. And so when her neighbor does something strange or is wanted to be questioned about something that has transpired, the neighbor gives false witness and testimony about the neighbor of color. That's what I'm talking about, a person bearing the spirit of false witness. Now, that was just one example that is not socially nor politically correct, so please don't get offended. I'm just trying to offer you scenarios so that you can understand what I mean about people possessing certain spirits. And when you see that spirit, you have to know what it looks like. Not on the outside, because it can look like either one of us. The person that has a false spirit could be black, white, yellow. What other colors do we have as far as skin tone? Peach, I don't know. Brown, whatever, it doesn't matter. They could be man or woman. They could be young or old. But they can still possess the spirit of falsehood. You must know what you're dealing with. And when confronted, if, I'll say, confronted with someone who bears the spirit of falsehood, therefore giving false testimony, you have to know, back to your personal worldly treasures, your assets, and your superhuman powers, how to deal and to counteract the effects of somebody giving false testimony on you. Understand? Okay. I hope I made it make sense so we can go through these slides a little quicker. Next, a snake. I think that's easy. Many of us already know a snake. Do you know a snake? Does the snake look like this young woman in the picture? Just a typical, we could say American or Asian young woman, but yet has a heart or a spirit of a snake. Slithering, slimy, can't be trusted, and will attack whenever they feel threatened. But you would think this person is harmless. You better learn how to identify the spirit of a snake. Because the spirit of a snake will set you up, just like a weasel. I couldn't find an image of a weasel. A weasel will do some conniving stuff and set you up for a fall. So would a snake. Now, what about this brother? On the outside, this avatar is a handsome representation of a man, and a black man in this case. But the soul within this person is vicious, capable of just about anything, of literally destroying another with their bare hands. You have to have the gift of discernment. You must have your third eye open in order to see a person's spirit. Because if a person is vicious, of course it depends on what scenario a person is in, or I have to say you to make it clear, you are in which you may be interacting with a vicious person. The one thing my mom always told me, when you deal with a person that has a vicious spirit, if you have to deal with them, you deal with them with a long handled spoon, and you only deal with them for the period and for the purpose that you have to deal with them, and then get out of there. Okay? See, this is things that we need to know, because remember, there's going to be a lot going on in our as far as our social constructs. All of these social constructs have an impact upon our physical lives and our sense of security, as well as our families. It also has an impact upon our health and everything else. And we're going to be consistently interacting with people. In past times, it may not very well have mattered if we couldn't see people's spirits. But this here, what I see humanity about to go through, is more extreme than I think is known to man. It has been known to man, at least in the last 400-500 years. It's more extreme. This is an accumulative effect. And so understand, let me talk about this character, this avatar, a little deeper. Imagine this avatar, this brother here, is a brother that's then lost his job. And he was working, you know. He might have did, we don't say, again, this is not politically or socially correct, but he did a little jail time. But he reformed. He got a job. The job cut back. He ain't had no food. He been eating noodles for 2 weeks, and now he ain't got money for that. The kids is hungry, busted, sick, in the hospital, whatever. He desperate. What kind of spirit does he carry going through all of that? Well, we know this brother carries a vicious spirit. So when he goes out here to do what he got to do to meet the demands of life, man, and of God, he will do it with a vicious spirit. And so again, only your third eye, your supernatural power, your gift of discernment will allow you to see such a person coming your way. Let's see. The next is a fierce person. Something like that vicious person. This is a fierce person. As you can see, we got a young fellow. He looks so cool. I mean, he's so like hang loose cool. Unassuming. You would not assume that this person, this type of person, can go from calm to fierce, to actually fierce. Fierce, like in fire, burning through any reality set before them that is limiting. Let me give you an example. Let's say this fellow goes, he's been working, he get laid off because the job cut back, or whatever the case may be. He go into one of the government agencies and say, you know, I'm here to apply for, I think it's called unemployment. And they tell him, oh, you ain't got enough hours. Or, okay, you can apply for unemployment. And he do it and they get it wrong. And he expecting a check for, I don't know, $547 every 2 weeks. And they make a mistake after a month and send him a check for $147. And he goes in and he do what? He act fierce. Understand what you're dealing with when you are working with people and interacting with people. As the times that are soon to unfold seem like they will be stressful, very stressful situations or scenarios. Then there are other people that will be more primal. And I talk about a more primal energy when I talk about the Capricornian energy, about being more instinctual. Well, this brother here can be a primal. You know, he can be cool, but it's set off and or triggered about something, he can go gorilla on you. And a lot of people can't handle the spirit. Another thing to look at is what triggers a person into now. You say you can hear me. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm eating again, y'all. What will trigger a person a soul that bears a physical body? Let me ask you a question. What trigger or life experience does a person have to have for them to surrender the stewardship of their physical vessel to one of their other cohabitating spirits? What has to happen? No. We're talking about upcoming scenarios that are unfolding socially and politically, socially, etc., that have a negative impact upon a large percentage of the world's population, one way or another. Of course, the government issues and platforms are different depending on what continent you're on and different things like that. But people is having issues, and it all boils down to not feeling secure while in this physical world. That's what it boils down to. There are the antagonists, and thank goodness there are the protagonists. But how many of us have our wings? So, okay, so we're talking about going through these difficult and or challenging times in which there is a divide. People are ignoring the suffering of others and are only able to think of themselves and their well-being. So survival is first and foremost. Okay, so you got to do what you got. You feel like you got to do what you got to do, and therefore it's justified. And people out here trying to get it in. Trying to get what in. They're trying to find a way to still pacify them urges, wanting that dope or the drink. How about people? There are people that are addicted to sex and different things like that. They're trying to get it in. You know, buying behind costs. So they're trying to get in. They're trying to get food. They're trying to, again, buy clothes and shoes. And then some cultures, it is about being... some cultures is about keeping up with the Joneses. Some cultures is about what they call it, blinging, popping bottles and blinging. So you're trying to keep up all of those fronts, called fronts. You know. So what does it take to trigger any given person? Is to threaten their ability to pacify those things, to tend to those things. And how can I say this? It's getting complex because we play so many roles in our lives. There are so many different scenarios, so many different scenes, that you may be able to go in one scene of life and be okay, because the people there aren't challenging you or any way triggering you. Then you can flip and go into another scene, and there's someone there to challenge you or taunt you or antagonize you, that causes a person to be triggered and become primal. And you can just kind of research the spirit or the activity or the behaviors of like a gorilla or ape to understand what they do. You know, I think they're very calm as far as they're grooming each other. They take care of each other. So long as they're not provoked, they're pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Long as they're amongst their own kind, they pretty good. But if provoked, they become fierce, and I think they will bite, scratch, and break a person's neck, or you know, the opposition's neck or threat. So there's certain behaviors, is what I'm saying, you can look at about the primate or the primal intelligence or consciousness, and therefore its abilities. And those are the same type of tactics a human being will use that embodies that spirit. Hopefully that makes sense. I hope I'm getting it to y'all, right? So I'm going to try to go through these a little faster so you can take a look and just say one or two words about it. What about, have you ever met anybody that walks with the spirit of death? These are people, look good, they can be fine as all get out, man or woman. And they will kill you at a drop of a hat if it threatens their sense of security or well-being in any way. Smile in your face and kill you the next second, okay? You have to have, again, a keen eye, a spirit of discernment to see that there are people that actually embody the spirit of death. Another way a person can kill you, there are people that are, we can say, HIV positive, that spread the disease. These are people that walk with the spirit of death. You know what I'm saying? It's about who like another example, I say, keeping control of your vessel and suppressing the cohabitating spirits that exist. Using an example I just gave about a person that might be you have AIDS or be HIV positive and full-blown AIDS, whatever. They know that they have a virus that is deadly. Now either they can allow their passions to run wild and not care and be reckless and spread it, or a person can be a master of their ship, of their vessel, and say, no, it is up to me right here to stop this from spreading. I will not. I will refrain, or I'm going to take precautions, whatever the case is. If a person was to do that, they're not walking with the spirit of death. That's what I'm saying. Take discernment to be able to see. But it is a person that runs recklessly without care that is walking with the spirit of death. And that's just one example. It's people just really walking out here with the spirit of death that'll lay you out at a drop of a dime. They want you to make it I'm going to stop. YouTube going to block me. What about an old buzzard? The spirit of an old buzzard. Have you ever thought about that? Many times, older people are given a pass. They get away with a lot of stuff. Why? Because they older. They look aged. They look like they live. They look innocent. But the truth of the matter, that some people, primary focus on older people, are really old buzzards. They can be deadly, and sometimes they have another cohabitating relative spirit, that one of a falsehood. A falsehood. It's just an example. You have to have your third eye open, and or the spirit of discernment active, to see that all older people, just because they're older, are not saints. Just because all older people are not good people. You know, they are humans too, that have managed to live longer than many other people. And so many of these spirits that we're going to talk about are still within them. And many of those spirits that are still within them have been fed and strengthened. It's just their vessel has gotten old and broken down. But the spirits inside have gotten stronger. And that's our old buzzard. Very deadly group of people. The next are just monstrous people. Have you ever met somebody that is absolutely beautiful on the outside, and you would never imagine that they were just hideous and a monster and cruel and mean and keep biting at you and hating at you? Yeah, it's those type of spirits, people that embody those kind of spirits too. And this could be, see, there are some things, I couldn't get all the spirits I can think of in here, but it could be somebody that is envious. When I say monstrous, envious, as beautiful as she is, this character we have here, why would she be envious of anybody? You know? But there are people that are envious and jealous. That's what all the heads stand for. And if it ain't the envy snapping you, it's the jealousy snapping you, or it's the vengefulness or something always snapping at you. But when you look at them with the naked eye, with your regular eyes, it's just one of us. And you would never think they were capable of such things. How about lasciviousness? Yeah. Who talked about lasciviousness? Aleister Crowley. Crowley? Do without will is the law of the land, or something like that, or the law of the world. I mean, if you want to get high, do it. If you want to have group sex, do it. Do what you want to do because you want to do it. Why is this a spirit that I want to point out? You know, all of these spirits are relative, just examples of spirits that will, of course, be up and active. They always have been. But at this specific time in the history of humanity, having to deal with these spirits up close and personal, and their own amplification. So we up here hungry, starving, without, and you want to go party, you know. You want to go hang out. You want to go have group sex. You want to do all these things. But you don't want to focus on our survival. Lasciviousness. Do wilt thou will is the law of the land. Okay. You know I got to be dramatic back here behind the scenes. How about a deceiver? I really like this mask as it has a nose like Pinocchio, but a deceiver. Could you imagine calling somebody and saying, you know, I need some work. Or somebody calls you and say, hey, I got some work for you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what you're going through. Don't think negative. Come on in at this place, time, we gonna lay this roof down, and you're gonna have $5 off or $500 off rip. You're gonna be able to feed your family. Don't worry about it. I got some stuff lined up. This is just an example of how a deceiver can come in. And so you join forces with this person. They got their own, roofing company. You go do the roof, and rather than this mother sucker paying you $500, say, no, man. I told you I was going to give you $150 for helping me over the last 3 days. $50 a day. That's what I said. I never said $500. You, Drew. Deceiver. You know, and so this person may have gone out, taken out a loan, or whatever the case may be, and they got to pay the money back. They think they're going to pay back the loan and buy some food or whatever. It's a deceiver. Now this is just an example. I'm gonna give you an example. Tax time is coming up. This is a trendy joke that women that are lonely and desperate oftentimes can't wait. I mean, well, the men that they date cannot wait. No, how I say it? It's like this. I'm trying to think of how it's trending. That there are men that exist in our world that may not have all that they would like as far as resources and physical worldly security, and therefore they may not have clout. And then during tax time, these men usually get closer to women that are more vulnerable because they don't fit the standard of beauty, they're fat, or they're just lonely, or whatever the case may be. And they milk all this money out these women. That is a trending kind of storyline that is played out around right before every tax year. I see it all over Facebook. But if that is the case, those men are deceivers. They are manipulating women in order to get their pocketbook. A deceiver. And so remember, we're entering a time period in which there may be many challenges and struggles. Women, as an example, be careful of the deceiver. That money that you would pay for their love, attention, affection, to be seen with somebody, not to be lonely for a moment, is money you can pocket, that you can put in the bank, or that you can make your house that much more comfortable and secure for a time such as what I've been predicting here during this live stream. Beware of the deceiver. What about the fantasy kind? I often hear about the fantasy kind here on YouTube. We call them trolls. You know, these are people that use technology one way or another to hurt another or respond to another. They use, texting. Like somebody texting you something. They use it to hurt people through texting, through stealing people's credit cards. Oh, keeping in mind, going through a time period which there is presumed to be some type of social instability, financial hardship, difficulties, challenges. But you're a person, you working every day, you make above the minimum wage, so you got an alright lifestyle, you living, you okay. I asked the question, what does it take for a person to fall out of being secure into being insecure in this world, and it being okay because ain't nobody gonna care like you weren't able to care. Well, here is an example. A person that bears the spirit of the fantasy, going into into whatever form of technology they would use to snatch a person's credit card number, all the money they saved in their bank accounts, and wipe them out clean. This is another type of person, and the spirit, and I'm going to use this one as well as a way to talk about the consciousness. There is a consciousness that accompanies every single one of these spirits. Now, I can click them back on real fast, y'all. Don't worry, I ain't starting all over again. Just want to make a point. There is a level of consciousness and awareness, a person who is guided by the spirit of falsehood. They have a certain consciousness. And one thing we see just from this image, they are not conscious of what really happened. They ain't heard nothing as first person. They ain't saw nothing as first person. Therefore, it's an absence of awareness about something. But they are conscious enough to be able, that they are going to falsify information against an unsuspecting person. A person that is a snake is a consciousness that entity that a person possesses that makes them or allows them to know what a snake does. To be untrustworthy is a state of consciousness. What does it take to be untrustworthy? What does it take to get to the level of viciousness where you have no mercy? That is a form of consciousness. And at the same time, it's a form of consciousness. It is also a lack of another type of consciousness. Relative to like this viciousness and fierceness, it is like the consciousness of compassion, not having that, or sympathy or empathy. They don't have it. They're void of that. They are only conscious of what the spirit embodies, being primal, and it has a consciousness. What does it mean to act a monkey? Death. What does it mean to be? What does a person consciousness have to consist of to think of ways to stop the body from working, to lead it to death? You have to. Who thinks on that? I'm not gonna go into too deep about that, but it's the consciousness about. You have to be aware that the body has to be stopped to create death, to bring on death. Meaning there are certain works that have to be done in order to usher in or begin the onset of death. So it's a consciousness that everybody can't even think of and or phantom and or stomach. It's the consciousness of. The old buzzard. Monstrous. Where was I at? Lascivious. The deceiver. The fantasy. How about a vengeful person? Have you ever met a vengeful person in your life? Very, very dangerous spirit. I want to offer you a brief story to make it make sense. What I mean by a vengeful person, this is just one example of many ways it can manifest in reality. I once knew a lady that dated a man. The man died. They shared a car, brand new car. When the man died, they weren't married. The family requested the car back to hand it back in. She told him that she would give it to him, but she said, I'll be damned if I give him this car. I worked on it too. And she took that car and drove it with her body in it into a tree and destroyed the car. And got out, shook herself off, and said it was an accident. That is a form. That was a form of a vengeful spirit there. She was getting revenge upon them others. And that man died not marrying her and leaving her to be able to claim that car. That's just one example. And so there are people that you will encounter, as you always have, but they are amplified. Understand what you're looking at. That are very vengeful. Very, very destructive. Not only will they destroy you, they will destroy themselves, destroying you. There are conniving people, very clever, cunning, figuring out whatever ways, even if they got to talk to you to find out what they need to know in order to destroy you. So watch who you speak to. There are people that are ruled by the spirit of power. Think, what was it, Al Pacino in Scarface? First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the respect. Well, right here, power is another spirit that people possess, and when you're around them, you can really feel it radiating off of them because it's a very large or huge or enormous spirit, and it's very forceful. And this spirit of power is not a person does not merely possess the spirit of power alone. It has companions, such as having the capacity to be vicious. There are accompanying spirits. So with power, you may have the spirit of viciousness and different things like that. And they work as a whole team or a conglomerate against whoever the threat is or the opposer to their goal and or agenda. Okay. There are people that have now possess the spirit of paranormal. What is it saying? Paranormal. Paranormal. I'm not saying it right. Paranoia. Had to look away. Paranoia. And sometimes paranoia comes on due to compounded life, tragic or traumatizing life experiences. So you end up seeing life from a particular unique lens and you become paranoid. Or it could be paranoia brought on by mental ill issues and or some type of psychosis. It could be paranoia brought on by all of the various conspiracy theories. And this is a spirit that guides a person and whispers in the back of their ear. And so if you're interacting with them, everything, this is a filter. This is a filter. They're all filters. So this is a filter in which a person, whenever they talk to you or respond or do works with you, is coming through that filter of paranoia. You know what I'm saying? So anything they offer you, again, will be seasoned with the, what am I saying, the spirit of paranoia. How can I say this? I don't know how to say it. But paranoia. So I'm not going to hold y'all. We've been on here a long time. 3 hours and 27 minutes. Man, we be breaking records. Thank you for your patience. Your patience does show a considerable amount of development, whether you know it or not. The next one is prosperity. It's the spirit of prosperity. I know most of us heard about the spirit of prosperity. We've heard about it primarily, I think, in the churches. But the spirit of prosperity, the reason why I put it here is because you got to remember that each of these spirits are a state of each of these spirits are also a state of consciousness. These people that are blessed with the spirit of prosperity do not understand poverty. And many people, not all, remember you have to be a steward and a master over your vessel. But many people, if blessed with the spirit of prosperity, do not understand poverty, poorness, hardship, difficulty, not being able to, well, hell, they don't even see the threat of life at the level of prosperity and of wealth. And so they lack empathy. Empathy, period. They have no sensitivity at all. So if you're dealing with a person, understand that to do any works with them, or to be in their presence, or to request any life-sustaining resource for them, you will not get sympathy. There will not be empathy. Why? Because they are not aware of what you're aware of. They don't know your pain. They don't know hunger. They don't know the bite of cold unless they selected to go out on a pilgrimage to climb Mount Everest in a frigid cold. Then they got to know what it is to have it bite. But even then, there was always an outcome or an escape or a coat that, helps out in sub-temperature levels. So it's not, they have they lack the awareness and the consciousness about what a struggling person has to endure or what they endure, and therefore have no empathy. Okay, let's see. What about addictions? Entering into a time period where our physical, worldly sense of security and stability is threatened, and then a person has a monkey, they call it a monkey on their back, they have some form of addiction, whether it is external addiction or internal addiction. It could be gambling or drugs, prescription drugs, street drugs, alcohol, don't matter. That is another spirit, because if you go to a person, let's say you got family member, y'all struggling, y'all trying to keep food in the cabinet. Who are you dealing with? Can you turn your back on a family member or friend? If they have a drug addiction, an alcohol addiction, addiction to some prescription drugs, the answer most likely is no. It's not just about the people in your family. We're talking about 7.5 plus billion people all over this world. I understand that you're only dealing with a very small percentage of that, the world's population. Them too. Can you trust a person when it's the last of the last? You have to understand what you're dealing with. Now, let me try to say this in a more caring way. If you are in keeping company with a person that has an addiction, it is important to be aware that they have an addiction, Let them know that you know that they have an addiction, and you have to make provisions to make sure that they don't catch you slipping. You have to make provisions to make sure that you are covered, because people that have addictions, they will what? Steal, kill, and destroy if that addiction, those urges begin to get the best of them. And the reason is that they don't want to be tormented by them spirits, by the spirit. Anyway, and so you have to know who you're dealing with. Yeah, and I'm eating a little more, y'all. So you might hear some smacking. I'm gonna let y'all look at this shot a little while I chew. And then I'll go into it real quick. Oh, I definitely 15 more minutes. I'm about to run through them. Y'all can figure them out on your own. So the rest of the slides, because I only got 2 minutes. Okay, I got 15 minutes before I got to get up out this door. Okay, have you ever encountered somebody with rabid rage? You know, they sweating and cussing and spitting when they get so mad they out of control. They can't even think rationally. We're talking about the people we got to deal with while we're going through this. What about venomous people? You ever seen somebody, possibly male or female, they can be seductress, but they can be very, very venomous, dangerous. You know, if it don't go their way, they will hurt you. They will destroy your life just because it ain't going their way. A person that have a sense of entitlement. You know what I'm saying? What about in the competitive market? As far as competing for a job or whatever the case is, they will cut you down, falsehood you, another spirit, in order to minimize your effectiveness. Just an example, quick. Let me see. I'm about to flick through them, y'all. Take a look. What about a rat? Self-explanatory. Many of us know a rat. But like, you dirty mother rat. I'm going to make it through this live stream without cussing. Next one is about insane people. I really like this image. As you see, the avatar here is a beautiful young woman. You wouldn't even think she was insane. Even what I'm trying to get you to see is, even though we may look a certain way externally, there could be something else going on the inside. Each of us have these various cohabitating spirits. In this case, this woman is dealing with the spirit of insanity. And it would take a person with discernment to look into her beautiful blue eyes to see that she's gone. She's insane. And so any response she was to give a person would be seasoned with the spirit of insanity. Usually comes through as confusion, sometimes babble. It is having a lack of clarity or clearness at all. Next spirit, what about a leech? Most of us know a leech. Heck, I think I'm a leech sometime. You know, you're calling on your different people, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, people from your neighborhood or community. You're calling on family, your mom. Sometimes you just can't make it. But some people that really have this spirit that all they can do is leech off of others. Now, it ain't nothing wrong. Every now and then we need some help. We might need some help for an extended amount of time. That's not what I'm talking about. You must have the gift of discernment. You must use your eyes to be able to see. I don't want you to get it confused with needing support from people that care about you and taking that support for however long it is. That is not a leech. But it's when you can't, you won't get up on your feet when you can and do your own thing. It's when you have nothing to put back. These are just evident facts associated with leech. You won't get back on your feet. You refuse to. And then when you do, you don't pay it back, pay it forward, and different things like that. That constitutes a leech. And that's a spirit. A corrupter. A person is a corrupter. That's a person that has power or influence in the world. Again, we're talking about from the mediocre, mundane, everyday lifestyle all the way up to the advanced political strategies of the world. Either way, there are corruptors and they carry a certain spirit. It's very dark and demonic. It is anti-life. It wants to make sure that there is such things as supremacy and division and hierarchies. controlling, elitist. It wants to make sure that the rules are set against the people, and there are people that are it upholds that people. Some people have deserve entitlement or are entitled, and this person, all their works are to make sure that these corruptions happen in our world, in our society. This is spirit. Remember, this person has to have the consciousness that allows them. So this person, a corrupter, would lack the consciousness of compassion and charity and what do they call it? I got dang it. What's the word? Equality. Equality to all. All. They would embody the consciousness of understanding the whole social hierarchy and how it works. This corruptor would have the consciousness and understanding how to manipulate the game board and how to monopolize the world stage in the favor of some people or particular groups. The next is a predator. Use your imagination. I got somewhere to go, and so I just want to show you the images. I've been working on it for like about 2 weeks in and out. So predator is a vulture waiting to pounce on you, to eat your flesh off you, to get this. I'm gonna give you an example. A woman can be married to a man since the avatar is a woman. Oh, I must say this. Remember, these images and this whole live was not socially or politically correct. I wasn't trying to be. I was trying to help you see into the spirit, see into the future. And so please don't be offended. If an avatar resonates with your skin complexion and is beside it is beside a demonic kind of negative energy, it doesn't matter. Again, these entities or spirits or demons that people embody, it don't matter. What is not biased. They don't care if you're black, white, yellow, green, purple, just a freak. They don't care. If you resonate with them, if you allow your soul to be on their level, they come dwell with you. So this is just imagery in order to help you be able to see. An example of this predator is a woman that marries a man but really doesn't care about the man, his well-being or anything. She does the minimalist requirements to sustain the man's life so he can go to work, get the money, and oh my gosh, she can't wait till he dead. Because when he dead, she the vulture. She gonna come. That's just one example of I'm sure hundreds of thousands of ways it could manifest. She can get everything he was worth and put it to her use. And in this case, she just looks like she wants to be a fashionista, but she has no interest in helping the rest of humanity. She may be very self-serving and self-seeking. We haven't gotten there to that spirit yet. Remember, most people don't just embody one spirit. They embody multiple spirits. Many spirits. Many spirits are with them. The next example is a person that is a coward. This is a spirit that people bear. A person can be a big body lifting, building machine, and they look like they have mastered their physical body. But from the soul, they are a coward. They will not stand up against people that's in their immediate environment, like a sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, or anything. They won't stand up to a neighbor. They won't stand up against anything. So in a global environment, they're not going to stand up to political parties. They're not going to work and go push them buttons to hurt somebody else because they are afraid. Spirit. What about the spirit of vanity and the sense of entitlement and feeling privileged? What if it's one slice of bread left on the table? Is it just for you? Or I've heard about this. We hear about this usually during Black Friday, I think it is, after Thanksgiving, where somebody beats another or kill another for this discounted item. A sense of entitlement and or vanity, feeling like one is more important and they are much more, they have more worth, some more self-worth and more value. And then there are people that actually have beauty that is also, as vanity can be looked at as well as from beauty. And the privileges that beauty brings. And a person being able to manipulate circumstances and people based on this spirit of beauty, and it's very vain. Again, this is a consciousness that a person would have to bear. the spirit of vanity is an increase, like an increase in the ego and understanding. You know how to persuade others. You know how to be seductive. You know how to purr and to be coy and to, rub up against a person or bat your eyelashes, right? Is it eyelashes? But you know how to be seductive and persuasive using your beauty as an example. This is a spirit that we have to look out for, especially men. What about people that's very closed-minded? People closed-minded is the kind of people that we're going to have to deal with. Let's say hypothetically, there's a group of people working 40 hours a week, but they're still living at the poverty level. There are people that will not give them empathy, compassion, and or assistance because their mind is closed to think that they not working. When a person has already just told them, hey, I'm working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, but I'm still living below the minimum, poverty level. A closed-minded person will miss the whole fact that this person's day-to-day life is consumed by working for another. They will miss that. They would totally miss that. And so that's an example of closed-minded people. I could think of other examples. What about, it's just self-serving people, something close to like vanity. Very self-serving, self-seeking, self-absorbed, and it's all about them. And it'd be like for instance, you could say, hey fam, can I get a loaf of bread? And they'd be like, if I give you my loaf of bread, if I give you, you say, hey fam, can I get 2 slices of bread? And I'm saying family in short. Hey fam, can I get 2 slices of bread? Fam, with her head leaning, will say, if I give you my bread, then I won't have any bread. But fam got a whole loaf of bread and won't give cousin 2 slices of bread or something like that. Self-serving, it's always about them. What about aloof? Now I chose this avatar because she looks like she's been in a life of prostitution. She has been handed from person to person, men, women, everything. She's been a part of the parties, the menage a trois. She did it 50 Shades of Grey, trying to sustain her physical, worldly sense of security, keeping a roof over her head and some food to eat, only to have to trick with the next John or Jane. And now nobody ever cared about her, and nobody was sensitive to her. Her mama and daddy was left. Mama was on drugs, and all that was there was the men, and so she did it. But what she became was totally desensitized. She's emotionally shut down, and now she is aloof and indifferent. If you ask them for some help, what do they care? They don't care. They never had anybody care for them. It is a deadening of the heart. Let's see who else out here. What about sworn? Sworn. I want y'all to look at this image. What does it mean to be sworn? Sworn to what? If you really look close, I put a lot of imagery there because I didn't want to be totally socially and politically incorrect, but I know I will be. Anyway, because I gotta go, I ain't gonna just keep leading y'all on. Either we're sworn to the works that we do, whether it's for organization, being a part of the military or the police force, or working at some office pushing some buttons. If people are, what do they call it, when you sit people out, they sit people out when they lose their home, whatever. We're sworn to do these works. Why? This is a spirit now. It is because either we're hypnotized by the cause, we took an oath to do this, and you so mesmerized by it, but it's also backed by a sense of power. Remember, cohabitating spirits, multiple cohabitating spirits. Or if you ain't hypnotized or totally mesmerized by the oath, then it's because you get paid back, and so you do it, and you dedicated to it. So if they say push the button, you push the button. If they say shoot, you shoot. Because what you paid, you get paid. And that's the only way you can sustain your own life. All people can do based on the astrological energy is focus on themselves. What about a shark? What kind of sharks do you know of? We got long sharks. We got long sharks, and what else is this? Another shark. But what is it about a shark? A shark does what? Take a bite out of something. A long shark ends up taking a bite out your check. So this is another spirit that we deal with, and a person has to have a level of consciousness and awareness in order to be a shark. Was it something else shark? I forgot. Anyway, how many I got left here? Okay. And what about the elite? We talked about the prosperity. Anybody can have prosperity if they life align with it. But there are only a few that are elitists. These are usually people that put most of the things that we're dealing with into existence. But the elite have a particular spirit. Who fell? Hello? Who the hell was that fail? Hold on, y'all. Who the hell is that falling? Every video I got to cuss and fuss. Who is that bumping? You dropped what? And did it break? I apologize, y'all. Y'all know y'all can't come here without the family acting up. Okay, we on the spirit of sloth. As you can see, I have a character here that's running and moving quickly. Have you ever known somebody that's constantly going and gotta go and do, but they never really doing anything productive? That is the spirit of sloth. And all they're doing is burning time. I mean, if you could call them and say, hey, can you pick me up? I need to get somewhere. It's really important. I'll pay you for a ride. Y'all met these kind of people, have you? And they be like, yeah, I'll be there. Well, I need you to be here, folk, at XYZ time because my appointment at XYZ time, or it has to be done at XYZ time. Rather than this person saying they can't do it, they lead you on and make you think you can. And they'll make a claim, a declaration that they were so busy they was running around. And when the reality is they carry the spirit of a sloth. And all they do is nothing is really inspires them because their primary focus is like not on handling the important factors of life usually. And they're more in their mind than they're actually physically active. I don't even know how to let's go down quickly. Then we have other people that's shallow. We're going through this thing. Hard times hit. People shallow. They stuck on simple stuff. They still going to want to shop and just roam and do these different type of things. And this is a spirit that compels them and animates them. And this particular spirit too has a level of consciousness. It only allows a person to be aware of these different activities in life, when there could be more important activities in life to tend to. But this shallow spirit will not ever say, hey, you person that I'm embodying, look over here. It's more important things taking place. You need to direct your energy over there. No. That person, in order to see bigger issues or circumstances and situations building and or unfolding, will have to have another cohabitating spirit that will alert them to such happenings, and or it could be their own spirit. The next thing, I hope this is the last one because I got things to do. Okay, one more. Oh, we already covered this one. We covered this one, the deranged. Okay, it's sex. Now, as we move into this time of challenging experiences, people dealing with the concern or threat to their physical world physical sense of worldly security and stability. Well, sex is another spirit that we will be dealing with, the spirit of sex. So I'm not just talking about the sexual act. I'm talking about the spirit of sex. And see, the spirit of sex is a certain level of consciousness. It lacks, many times, we just talk about sex, it lacks emotion. It lacks, it doesn't care about, like, passing on disease. It doesn't care about that. Sex is a way to, like, try to, like, say if a person is hurting, or feeling unloved and uncomfortable, they can partake in with the spirit of sex in order to try to pacify that loneliness or that hurt. But it's only temporary. That's what many people miss. Another thing is that sex has been considered or prostitution, which is the exchange of sex for money, is the oldest profession out here. As we move through this time period, the spirit of sex, we will be coming face to face with, and it's going to get bigger. What can I say? We know sex has always been a big one. It's going to get bigger. There are going to be more sexual spirits that emerge from our activities, and we can see that. But I digress from that. And so we did the last one. I think I am done. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you understand that I was trying to help you see us and the mechanisms or the spirits that we embody. I thank you once again for coming here to Can Angels Fly Tarot and More, taught by me, Nancy, and talking about 2020 and seeing what is to come, and understanding what to look for in order to prepare how to deal with what you'll be interacting with. Oh, that makes sense. I'm rushing out. I really can't thank y'all. But thank you. Please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe. If you'd like to put a gift under my YouTube Christmas tree, all you got to do is go to my Cash App Me link, which is $ Can Angels Fly Tarot with the words capitalized. I don't know how I'm supposed to do it, y'all. But thank you. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day. Hopefully it made sense. Rewind it. Watch it again. Peace. I think my stomach want to growl.